Got a lot of stuff. You're taking these trips, you end up with all this extra stuff all over the place. Praise you for an opportunity to be here. Apologize for tardiness. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in Yahweh's sight. He is our strength and our redeemer, and it's in his name, which is his authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect today's message. Amen. How's everybody doing? Hopefully everybody's doing well. We appreciate you. We're thankful and grateful to each and every one of you. Amen. I'm excited to get into this word, continue this series that we've been doing. We give all praise and honor to the Most High, Yahweh Elohim. We give all praise and honor to him for my wife, the Honorable Maya, who lives a life that's able to be honored. You can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A&D, the letter N. Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. Thank you, everybody, for being on one more again. I'm trying to get podcast started. If you join us on the well, we're getting the podcast up and going. But we'll say hello to everybody real quick. I'm in a different situation here, so I may or may not catch everybody on this rise, and I'm going to do my best to catch, as we always do, try to catch as many of these great comments and questions and everything that you guys have. But once again, we're thankful and grateful for another opportunity to roll with you guys again. I apologize if you hear some noise in the background. It's a little hot where I am right now, so hopefully we'll be able to make sure there's no overheating. So I'll have to be doing a lot of stuff to make sure there's no overheating. But we praise Yah for you guys once again. And we're thankful to you. Let's say hello to everybody, whether you're joining us on the podcast, join us later on Facebook, join us on YouTube or TikTok. We appreciate you. If you're on YouTube, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. If this is something that you get something out of. And we appreciate you. Continue to keep us in prayer as we are continuing to travel. We're thankful for another opportunity to be in front of you guys again. Hello, everybody. How you doing, Kiara? How you doing, Minister Tamara? I believe I saw Sister Tamaya, Sister Sage, Sister Nadine, Sister Renee, Brother Shabbos, everybody who's on Servant of Yah. As a reminder, too, and thank you guys who were on Thursday Rising Prayer. As a reminder, this Saturday we are going to have a meeting for everybody at SOC. So if you haven't already gotten an invite, you should be getting one soon. If you don't get one by tomorrow or Saturday in the Rising for sure, please let us know so that you have it, so that once we finish our Shabbat bit safer for our children, we can go right into the class for everybody else. And we thank you guys so much for being on. How you doing, Sister Nadine? How you doing, Charles? How you doing? I can see, this is going to be a little difficult for me to be able to. How you doing, Sister Crystal? China, thanks for being part of the community. Appreciate you. So, and thank you for the travel wishes. So we're continuing the series. This System is Us. And a series within a series that we're going to use to close out this series called A Call to Fathers. Remember, for us, the word call, we're talking about an invitation. And the word fathers, we're talking about sources. So we're talking about those who should be in the father role in the house. How you doing, Sister Monica? Those who are spiritual fathers, spiritual sources, which all of us should be in a spiritual sense. All of us can learn something from this and grow. And this is part 4 of this series. And this series within a series. And you can all catch up on all these on YouTube, by the way, if you want to go to our YouTube channel, look on our playlist and be able to catch this series. How you doing, DB? How you doing, Tosh? How you doing, Trevo? I don't know if Trevo. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Forgive me. But we're grateful and thankful to everybody for being on. Today, I want to talk about something that we don't talk about with fathers or lack thereof, with men in general, with little boys, because of the way that we are, the system that we're in, the trouble that we're in, the frustrating times that we're dealing with. I want to talk about anger issues. I would like to talk about anger issues. I was actually speaking or texting with somebody who's part of SOC, and it was brought up, but one is something that was on our list to do. Praise Yah that the Holy Spirit has us obedient even when we don't, or is taking care of things. So even when we're being obedient and we don't know what we're being obedient to, these things just come right when they need to. How you doing, Marley? I want to talk about anger issues. How you doing, Sister Deja? A lot of our sisters and brothers are angry. we're focusing on fathers, so we'll focus a lot on that. But we are a diaspora that has a couple things going on that cause us to be angry, right? Like I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you. I don't know if this has been your experience, but I know many a times this is many people's experience. When you learn the truth about yourself, about your culture, about your tribe, and you start realizing the length and the depth that the people who worship, who have set up the beast and have been given power by the head of the first beast to the second beast to get us distracted and make sure that we're looking at the serpent rather than looking at Yasrael. In chapter 12 of Revelation, we should be looking at the woman with 12 crowns and developing her. That would be us. And instead, we've learned how to develop satanic systems. And what happens with a lot of people, and I'll just speak for myself, you don't have to say amen, you don't have to admit it, but I know this is something that happens a lot, is that when we find out the truth, before truth separates to where it separates us to making sure that we're getting in the kingdom. Also, if we be honest, a lot of us gets angry first when we find out the truth. When we find out what's really happened to us, the length and the depth of things. Even if you were raised learning it, when you really get comprehension of what's going on, a lot of times what happens is anger. And when you see what's really been done to us, where we aren't really husbands or wives, but we get together with people and lay down. We get angry. How you doing? Hey, how you doing, Brother Kofi? We get really angry. We get really frustrated. A lot of us live in that anger, and that's why a lot of the people who preach and teach, who are part of us, come across as really angry, because we have not dealt with anger issues as a community and as a society. You ever find any objective, verifiable, material evidence of gods? I don't worship gods. Those are Germanic deities. If you're talking about a culture that leads us to Jehovah, then I can say that, yes, I have. Well, if you're saying objective because you don't mean observational, although observational is what people would use for evolution and things of that nature. But what I deem as objective within the culture that I come from might not be the same thing that you deem as objective, and that's fine. Today, I'm talking about something that's subjective, though, and whether you believe in God or Yorijas or Netchers or yourself or nothing, I think that we can get to a place where we see where the anger issues pop in, to where we're so angry about situations we're in and what our plight is as a diaspora, and that we have a lot of people that aren't trying to build anything that's tangible for us, even nation building, and then a place for the nation to go, etc. I think that that's something that we can get to no matter what your belief is. So no evidence? Okay, cool. Thank you for popping in to make sure that you win. You can win. I don't care about winning. I care about people, my people, our people. So now that that's been said, right? You see what I'm saying? Can you see the anger issue pop up? I praise y'all. This is why I tell you guys sometimes when people are like, man, I'm tired of this. Look, the trolls come and we can still learn from it. You say, go drink Kool-Aid. Do I look like somebody who's drinking Kool-Aid and stuff? If you want to learn about how herbs and things work or whatever, then come. My wife has a whole business. She can help you to get to a place where you're not arguing with people. See what we're talking about today? Anger issues. You see that? You see that? Like, people are so angry and frustrated in their lives. Things are going on. And rather than try to figure out how to get through it, see, we haven't gone through the psychology of it. We're dealing with a psychology that causes us to yell at each other and to tell each other off and say why somebody doesn't know anything. But we're not dealing with the fact that there's a reason why we are doing this towards one another. And I'm not the reason. Even if you think, as the person said, I'm a Kool-Aid drinking, and the person says I have no objective, proof or whatever, even though the person has no proof that their dollar that they use today is worth anything. But they're still going to use their dollar, aren't they? Even though the dollar has no gold or silver to back it up. And the same person who's saying that, do they have any land? Are they going to eat their own food? These are things that should be objective, right? But people are so angry that they don't see what's going on. Yeah, you were weeping for 3 days after. Yeah, like when you find out the truth, it does something to you. And one of the things that we don't do once people find the truth is we say, okay, now that we found out the truth about who you are, what's causing these issues, we have to go through something of trying to figure out what's going on. See, this is a call of fathers. Why are our fathers so angry? Why are our sources so angry? Amen, Cole. Now, see, why are we dealing with anger issues and why are we staying in anger issues? See, it's okay to be angry, but be angry and sin not. Remember, for the whole 40 days that we did leading up to Passover, when we were teaching things, cultural principles, and we were talking about sin basically means anything that causes me to miss the mark. How you doing, Sister Tracy? So if I'm in sin, I'm doing anything that causes me to miss the mark. If I'm angry and I don't deal with the anger, then I will keep sinning. I will keep missing the mark. How you doing, Darius? You see? And so people come on here with a sinful mindset, an angry mindset, a demeaning mindset, a frustrated mindset, and they lash out like children do. We are children of Yah. At least some of us trying to become. Some of us are children of their father, the devil. Either way, we're children. And children, right? We want to grow up to stop being like children tossed to and fro. See, because I once was a child. Right? When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I thought as a child. I understood as a child. But when I became a man, getting ready for fatherhood, right? I put away childish things, and the lack of control of anger can cause me to still be in childish things. In every king, there is a child. Every child, there is a king. In every queen, there is a child. In every child, there is a queen. But it doesn't mean that the childishness gets to supersede the royalty. Even the child that is royal has to be trained how to become an adult that is royal. Even if you're on the sincere milk now, at some point, the hope is that you might be able to digest some meat. But you can't digest meat if your digestive system is jacked up, and you can't digest. Look, this is just simplicity, right? This is objective, as the person was saying earlier. This is objective. I can't digest. See, the physical manifestation is nothing more than the spiritual manifestation, and in the physical, I cannot digest food. How you doing, Blossom? It's hard for me to digest food if I'm stressed out. You know that, right? Physically. Like if I'm stressed out, it's actually hard for me to digest food. It's hard for me to sleep. It's hard for me to think, right? It's hard for me to get over things. It's hard for my body to heal. How you doing, Sister Tori? How you doing? Is it Densa? I don't know if it's Densa. Please forgive me for saying it wrong. But thank you for being part of the community, right? It's going to be difficult for me to move if I'm still angry. It is going to be difficult for me to learn what Yah has for me to learn if I am still angry. It is going to be difficult for me to be able to do much of anything if my whole life is based off of anger. How you doing, Ryan? Praise God, exactly. Amen. Amen. Right? Like anger doesn't get to rule my life. There's a lot of stuff that happens to me multiple times a day from many different people that, in all honesty, you might be able to say, well, if you should be angry or should be allowed to be angry about thus and such. There's many things that happened in my life where I supposedly deserve to be angry, but I can be angry and sin not. It doesn't get to take over. An angry mind can be a very narrow mind, yeah, because everything's coming through the prism that you see. There can be rose-tinted glasses. There can be anger-tinted glasses. I refuse those that have anger be the barometer. Anger does not get to be the mercury in the, in the temperature gauge, in the thermometer. That's not what's going to cause me to move. Right? If I'm angry, I need to figure out what's going on. And so once again, then this call to fathers before people go all these other places. And in this call, this invitation to fatherhood, it is important that we realize that a lot of our fathers, a lot of our brothers, a lot of our men are extremely angry. They can say whatever they want, but I've talked to too many of us. How you doing, Sister Deborah? Right? I've talked to too many of us and seen that cause and effect. Right? To where, how do you keep telling me be a man and everything in society tears a man down? Not manhood according to their standard, our standard. How do you keep telling me to be a father and I never saw one? How do you keep telling me that I need to listen to somebody, but I've never had anybody listen to? And what ultimately happens is even when I get true father figures, I will not listen to them. Why won't I listen to them? I will not listen to them due to the fact that I'm still angry about things that I never got from a father. This is a huge problem with our fathers. We talk about calls to fathers, invitation to fathers. How do I emulate something? How do I imitate something? How do I replicate something that I've never seen, especially if I've never seen it in my house? And maybe I had a father, but he wasn't a great father. Maybe he did the best he could, but I need to take it to the next level. See, even in that, I need to have a father figure that's even above my father, or even father figures outside of my father sometimes, so that I can get a context of it. But if I don't have a neighborhood with fathers, then how do we do that? How do we complete that? If everybody says that everybody's part of the patriarchy, and you think that the Western society's versions of patriarchs are our patriarchs, then why would I think anything about our patriarchs? Why would I look to see what what Akhenaten would do as a father, as far as saying we need to get back to monotheism and not polytheism? Like, that's a father's role. I mean, people talk about Kemet all the time with polytheists, but why don't we talk about the monotheists? That we don't even know if for those of you who look at Kemet as needing to be your father, well, what's up with that? What happened to somebody who lacked their father? Even if you believe in Horus or Heru, what happened to him when he didn't have a father? And how his own family, his own uncle, tried to do things to him, and he wasn't protected by a father. And that's supposed to be your natures, or what some of you would try to call your spirits or your gods. Amen. Be slow with anger. Right? Yeah, the creator is the greatest example of fatherhood, right? And he should be the standard, no matter if you have a physical father present all the time or not. However, Yah did give us physical fathers for a reason, and we can't gloss over that part. And a lot of the stuff that we're dealing with, a lot of stuff, like, I know that there's young brothers out here who snap on their mothers, and mothers are trying to say, why they snap on them? Why they snapping on me? This and that or whatever. Sometimes it's because they don't have a father. I'm not going to give it as an excuse. You still should honor your mother and your father, by the way. Even if your father's not in your life, he should still be honored. You don't have to, accept his foolishness, but you don't have to dishonor him either. Just like you don't have to dishonor your mother. I know some grew up without mothers, right? But man, Malachi chapter 4, verse 6, the hearts of the fathers have to return to the children. The hearts of the children have to return to the fathers. At some point, when does our heart return to fatherhood as children? When do our hearts return to fatherhood as children of Yah? Yehoshaphat said, you are of your father, the devil, to some. Interestingly enough, the devil, right? Look at Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley said, do as thou wilt. Allison Bailey sets him an altar at the United Nations, and she says, when you come into this to pray to an altar, it even says we're not saying we don't believe in a God. This is what it says when you go to the UN altar in New York. She said, it's not that we don't believe in a God, we believe in the unknown God. This is what the example is of fatherhood for them. That who cares if Yahweh has told you who he is? Who cares if he's put his stamp of approval literally on your DNA? How you doing, Sister Shima? Right? The lack of a father is heavy. Now watch this. We have to make sure that we're culturally accurate, right? You guys, a lot of you who are on today, you know this. A lot of you who listen to this recording, you know this. Hey, how you doing, Carrie? But we got to be honest. A lot of people are talking about, my children have a father in their life, because you're saying that there's a man that shows up. And while I praise Yah for that, men showing up is different in our culture than fathers showing up, because you have to be qualified to be a father. You must be pre-qualified. In our culture, before you are married, you're supposed to be a husband and wife already. And the husband who's qualified, he's the one who's qualified to go, and as he's out in his work, find a wife, and that helps him to obtain favor from Adon, right? In our culture, you must also be qualified to be a man or a woman even before you hit 18 and 21, right? You were supposed to be pre-qualified before you hit those things. You would already hit those certain stages, right? In our culture, before you have children, you must also be pre-qualified to be a mother and a father. This is why we always have to talk about this is not for everybody. Not everybody's trying to live by something like that. A lot of you believe that you should go ahead. See, watch this. Why is it that people do stuff? See, if we live by this, it would protect us. This is why law is important. Law doesn't give rights, law protects rights. Watch this, y'all. Right? Peep game. If people, how many people say stuff? I heard, what's her face? What's the girl that Amber, the girl that used to be married to, or not married? Well, we believe sex is marriage, marriage is sex, but was having sex with Kanye, and then was having menage a trois with her and Kanye and Kim, and then Kim married her, and then she went and was dating all these other people, whatever her name is, Amber Rose, right? Amber Rose. How you doing, Minister Shantae? If I didn't say so already, I think I did. Amber Rose, I heard her talking on some interview. It was just something that popped up for like a minute of it. And I heard her, and she was like, "Yeah, people wonder why I don't do this or why I don't dress like this anymore." And guys are like, "I know you used to do this, blah blah." And she's like, "I got children now, and this and that, and I can't just do this, and I can't just do that." But why were you doing it in the first place? Why did you wait to have the physical children before you started being what you were supposed to be? I want you to think about it, because the world says that's what you're supposed to do. The world would say that's admirable, and it's admirable that you made the change. But I want you to hear something. Why did you wait till you had the children to change? It's because you didn't think that you needed to be you didn't think that anybody was looking at your qualifications as a mother until you became a physical mother. But you should be already trained to be a mother and living as that, so that now your children don't have to go back and say, wait a minute. Now look, we all have stuff. We all fall short. I'm not saying that she's a bad person because she's got skeletons in the closet. I have skeletons, right? If you be careful, you go in my closet, you might have to be careful. There's a bone hanging up my shoe, right? You might get stabbed. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all got skeletons in our closet. That's not what I'm saying. Praise Yah that he takes us out and forgives us and takes us from the mindset that we used to have where all these skeletons are connected to. Okay. I'm not saying that you can't have skeletons in your closet. All right. So far be it from me to say she's going to heaven or hell based off of something that, she could easily change in her life. What I'm trying to say, though, is that in our mindset, we think that I'm not supposed to act like a parent until I have the child. You showing them bones? Yeah. We think that until we become a parent, now that I actually have children, I need to treat women with respect. See, let's keep it a buck. A lot of fathers don't worry about how women feel until they have daughters. Even when they have a wife, even when they have a girlfriend, they're not really tripping off it. But when it comes to their daughter, now they're protective. Now all of a sudden they want to make sure that she feels secure. Now they want to make sure she has security, right? I'm sorry, security, and she has affection. But a lot of fathers don't even worry about it until they have a daughter. Then they have a daughter, and it's, oh, be careful out here. There's a lot of brothers that'll do whatever. And, there's men that'll just use it like a hole in the ground. These men out here, they don't love you. Make sure you don't need no man. You don't need. Now they start sounding like feminists because they themselves were not husbands and fathers before they had children. Now they are unqualified brothers who are out here trying to make sure that they use their unqualified mindset to raise another generation. Generational curses continue to flow because the person who never was a father, right, is now trying to become a father, and he believes that he needs to become this simply because he's had a child. Now, is this possible to do? Well, yes. Enoch, who was somebody it doesn't say he was not righteous, but he was somebody that's going through life, doing his thing. And then all of a sudden it says he has a son. And when he has the son, all of a sudden he begins to start changing who he is. Right? We sit up here, we'll listen to stuff. Some of y'all still out here acting up. Might I just talk to you out of love for you? Some of y'all still out here acting up and doing crazy stuff. And in your mind, it's okay to do it and get away with it. But then also when you get married, you think you're going to change. That's not how it works. You're out here not being a mother or a father right now. And then when you get a child, you think, okay, once you get your child, you're going to change. It's going to work. You out here dipping one toe, you doing the hokey pokey. You got your left foot in the world on Friday night, right? You take your left foot out and talk about you're going to keep the Sabbath and keep it holy, right? your life is convulsing, shaking all about, right? Like you going in circles. I mean, you live in hokey pokey. We can poke holes in your mindset easy, because you're not really living by what Yah is asking for you to live by, right? You're really not. I apologize. I don't know why I'm not getting the air flow that I want in here. Hopefully the air is not too loud. I'll turn it down in a second, but need a little bit of airflow. Might just have to open the window. Trying to avoid the noises from outside. Turn it down a little bit. Right. But we have this wild place that we're coming from, where we're not qualified to make sure that we raise the next generation. We're not qualified to deal with the heart of the children. How you doing, Sister Barbara? We're not qualified. And everybody who's coming on the podcast, later on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, we appreciate you so very much. How you doing, Brother Alton? So the non-qualified are trying their best to qualify others. The blind are leading the blind. How you doing, Sister Mignon? Be safe out there. Right? The blind are leading the blind. The unqualified are trying to qualify. And when the unqualified are trying to qualify, or sometimes the unqualified just don't show up. They are unqualified. They have babies. They leave. And so now we have generations. Now we've gone to a place where we have generations of young men who have no fathers and are trying, without ever having something to look up to see what the qualifications are trying to become holy. And they've got so many responsibilities because they're trying to become fathers and sons and husbands and men and righteous and holy and providers and all that stuff. And nobody taught them how to do one of them. Can you see an issue? Look, I get it that there are men that mistreat our sisters. I talk about that all the time, and we need to make sure we come out of that. We need to make sure we continue to call it out. I'm not here to disagree with you on that, but I'm trying to tell you that it's not as simple as men are evil. It's not as simple as these brothers are just angry. It's not as simple as these guys are just snapping on you. Guys are snapping on their mama. Guys are snapping on each other. Guys are snapping on police officers. There's an anger issue, right? It does something. And I deal with men of all ages. I deal with little boys of all ages, right? As far as making sure that we do life coaching. There's something, if I just be honest about it, there's something about knowing that when you see a real father walking around and knowing that he has something in him that you have in you, but the only difference between you and him is that what he has is developed and yours was never developed. Yep, women too. That's why we said women too. But today we're talking about fathers, right? So that's why we've already talked about it. We talked about sisters earlier. We'll continue to talk about sisters, right? But but today we're talking about fathers, right? And the end of the series we're dealing with is talking about fathers, right? And if we have fathers that are in place, it helps our sisters also feel protected to where they should be able to do the same thing and go through what we're talking about. So this is not one better than the other. How you doing, Brother Jermaine? This is not me saying that we gotta only deal with fathers. I'm just saying that in this, what we're talking about today is what, right? And what we're talking about in this mindset that's real is what? Is that we have a lot of fathers. See, watch this. Fathers should be there to make sure that they raise up daughters, just like mothers should be there to raise up daughters and sons. Fathers should raise sons and daughters. So part of the problem that we have with our young ladies or our young sisters, I don't like using that term, our young sisters, is that the kingdoms that they're coming from, or they're not even coming from the right kingdom. They're coming from a corporation, a corporative mindset, right? The United States is a corporation. And if that's what influences you, which influences a lot of places all over the world, influences the United Nations, influences your school systems, right? We don't even train our brothers and our sisters. We don't train our sons and daughters ourselves. We send them to somebody else. We say, please teach our child, right? And we get mad when they don't teach them correctly, even though they're not part of the same kingdom, right? We use the word tribe, but tribe technically is not even an African word. And I get why a lot of people don't use it. I don't mind using it, but I get why people don't like to use it, because in the beginning, it was something that was used ultimately to demean us and try to like say that we weren't who we were supposed to be, right? We come from kingdoms. right? And in our kingdoms, the king has a dominion that he's over. And if you're the queendom, you have a dominion that you're over. If it's wisdom, you have a dominion that should have something that's wise. But a lot of us have a lot of stuff that's random. A dominion where people are running all over you, where people ransack you, right? Like, instead of having strategic and specific things in place for a people, a nation. And how you doing, Brother Trevon? Yeah. And so, like, okay, here's an example of how lack of a father works. Okay. I was watching something else came on my feed. Yeah, I'll be going down rabbit holes sometimes too. But, praise Yah, I've been able to get my algorithm together to where I get certain things that I want to study. And there was, I don't know the latest, the young woman's name. I don't know why I'm going into saying lady today so much. I don't know the young woman's name, but she's on there and she's talking about like, hey, I was with this guy or whatever, and I had to get rid of him. There was a rapper she's interviewing. I don't know the rapper's name, but there's a rapper she's interviewing. He doesn't ever get angry or anything. He's just listening and he's just talking to her. He's even talking to her like more like this, but he got a microphone, so but he's really kind of talking like that. He's really chilled out. And so she's going on and she's talking about, yeah, I had a boyfriend and this and that or whatever, but he wasn't making as much money as I was, so I had to go ahead and stop being with him. He said, but so he goes, so he wasn't making as much money, and that's why you left him. Well, yeah, I mean, because he got to show that he can make the money and this and that or whatever. And he said, okay, but was he a bad guy? Did he give you, was he giving any kind of like hope, or did he have your back? It's like, yeah, he had my back and this and that or whatever, but like he wasn't really there for me, wasn't provided, he wasn't doing this or whatever. And I can't just be with any guy or whatever that's what was the word she used? She said, I can't be with any guy who is not stable. He said, oh, so then he catches, he says, so he wasn't stable. She goes, well, he was stable, but okay. So he goes, so then why are you leaving then? And so she starts smiling. She's like, see, I got to be the bad guy now. I'm always the bad guy. He said, no. He said, I just want you to hear you. So you said that you needed somebody that you had a guy that had your back. He was stable. He wasn't making as much money as you. He said, did you ever do anything to help him with his business? He said, a woman's supposed to be a helpmate. And when he starts using that terminology, I was like, oh, okay, let me listen in, right? Just because he a rapper don't mean he don't know some of the principles, right? So let me open up. So let me pause. Let me just be like, okay, let me just listen. He's like, woman's supposed to be a helpmate. And then she goes, and this is out of order, but once again, lack of fathers, lack of leadership, lack of being honest and teaching this stuff. She goes, well, I feel like he's supposed to be that to me. He said, no, that's not his role. He said he's supposed to protect you. He's supposed to make sure he's there for you. He's supposed to give guidance. He's supposed to give instruction. He said, but you're supposed to help build him up. He said, like, did you do anything to help build him up? How you doing, Auntie Mary? On her auntie grind, for real, for real. Thank you so much. That's what he said. And this is somebody that I've never heard their music, probably, in the way that he looked, the stuff that he had, the tats and all that. Who knows? You don't want to judge a book by its cover, but probably is when you listen to his music, probably ain't. You probably wouldn't think that he knows that. But that's what he's telling her. Even where he is, he says that's, even if he don't want to be a husband, he knows the qualifications. Right? And I'm not here to say that she's a bad person. I'm not here to relegate her to obscurity. I don't even know her name enough. So if you come across it, if you actually see what it is, I want you to know that I'm not telling you that she is a bad person, right? What I'm here to tell you, though, is that in all that stuff she was saying, not any of it was something that was taught about what an actual man and woman, husband, wife, father, mother relationship is. How you doing, Linda? It's ESTG interview. Okay, I don't know the EST. If you want to find, I guess it's ESTGEE interview. I've never even heard of it. Okay, thank you for that. I appreciate it. So and all that, he's just sitting there. He's like, yeah, so what you leaving for? He was there, like, if you lost your job or whatever he could have provided. Like that's how he's talking. And she can't say anything as she talks, but then it goes to a place of, oh, so now I'm the bad guy. No, it's not about making you the bad guy. It's about showing you that, like, we are not equipped. How you doing, Sister Knight? Where do you think that she got that mindset from? You think that she got that from our culture? And I know some of y'all, when you see her, will be like, well, she's not even part of our diaspora. Yes, she is. We're going to stop that, too, right? If you know what our diaspora is and how we've been scattered to where we are around to the four corners, right? She's us. But see, that's not something that comes from our culture, right? Well, social media, but even before social media existed, we were already starting to talk like this. Ain't nothing going on but the rent. Got to have a job if you want to get with me. How many people were singing that? How many young girls were singing that? Back in the day when you used to sing and you used to have a hairbrush. I used to have a hairbrush. Gotta have a job if you want to get right. Y'all used to do that whole 80s thing. I guess they still do it today, but that was a big 80s trope back in the day, right? You watched the movie. And I'm not saying that a man shouldn't provide. See, it's not as simple. See, so somebody's out there, so you're saying he shouldn't provide? No, he should. But once again, who's trained? Watch this. Where does our training of taking care of our families come from? I don't want no scrubs. The scrub is the guy that can't get no love from me, hanging at the passenger side of his best friend's ride, trying to holler at me. Mm-hmm. That's another one. It's not right, but it's okay. I'm gonna make it anyway, right? All these anthems. To the left, while to her right is Jay-Z. Right? But everything you own in the box to the left. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that there's not cause for look at the stuff that's out there and ask yourself, how this stuff is being wired, how it's being geared. Those careful, because you might be playing music that has your son being like, well, I guess they think I'm this anyway. Be careful what you're saying about their father. Even if their father ain't this, that, or whatever, let their father prove who they are. You speak wise about their father. You speak those things aren't as if they were. Even if you're not going to get back with the father, their father is what they see themselves in. The father's seed is what was implanted in the garden that is you to be able to be born. And so if you're saying that what comes out of you is the thing that you allowed, that you saw some kind of value to be in you, and you keep talking about that their father ain't worth nothing, then they're going to start think that they're not worth something. This is the way it works. And now you have the beginnings of an angry generation of father. Why are our brothers in our diaspora really, in the diaspora, why are they okay with being slaves? Somebody said, no, they're not okay with being slaves. Why are they okay with being slaves? I'm gonna give you a lyric that I like from a song. I'm gonna see if I can find it. By Toby and Gwe. Y'all know I be overplaying Toby, but that's my guy. But I'm gonna look for a lyric of a song by Toby called Day Ones. The song is called Day Ones. I'm gonna look up the lyrics real quick. Sorry, on YouTube, you're gonna be shaking while I'm doing this because of my setup today. See, I want to read some lyrics from a song. A lot of them don't know they're slaves. A lot of them don't know they're 13th Amendment citizens. They're 14th Amendment citizens. They're 15th Amendment citizens. Don't know why those things exist. Right? Very true. But let's. I'm gonna read you some lyrics from a song. You said think it's easier than taking accountability. Once again, sure, I agree with you, Sister Sage. I'm the first person that said we got to take accountability. But what you gonna account for if you don't even know what you're looking for, right? Some of y'all watch this. If you ain't got no money, what you got an accountant for, right? I'm just saying, right? But I'm gonna let you. But watch this. I'm gonna read some lyrics for you. Okay, you ready? So some of y'all heard this song before. So it goes, che, 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 equal quid no hit. Not your boy, they love how I accentuate. Here's the next part. All my partners trying to ball like the NBA. I like this verse. So all my partners trying to ball like the NBA. So they out here moving products like it's Mary Kay. I don't knock them. I just know the game. Now watch this. See, this is somebody who was out there on the street, all this stuff, right? How you doing, Sister Snap? Right? You ready? You ready? Here you go. Watch this. How you doing, Brother Terry? Watch this lyric. I don't knock them. I just know the game. They ain't slaves. They just really love the whips and chains. You hear what I'm saying? Most of my partners trying to ball like the NBA. So they trying to ball. They trying to be like the NBA players wherever they were and stuff. So they out here moving products like it's Mary Kay. Because what we say, the man we should look up to is the people that's balling. Even if these people that's balling be cheating on their wife and doing stuff or whatever, it don't matter. That's what everybody says. Look at what this person did. Look at what this person did. What about Charles Barkley? What about Shaq? Shaq owns all these things. It's great that Shaq owns stuff. Shaq owns Forever 21. Shaq owns the likeness of Marilyn Monroe. Shaq owns, a lot of stuff that y'all wouldn't think that he would own. A lot of stuff that y'all are using, right? At the same time, though, Shaq was cheating on his wife, and now isn't really trying to be faithful to anybody, and it's caused him to not raise his children. He'll tell you this the way that he would have wanted to raise his children and his family correctly, right? But that's the standard that most of my partners, what they trying to do, they trying to ball like the NBA. So they out here moving products like it's Mary Kay. What's the next line? I don't knock them. I just know the game. I don't knock them. I just know the game. So I'm not out here telling you that I'm judging them as evil, this and that, or whatever. How you doing, Iska? How you doing, Black Steel? I'm not knocking them, but I'm here to tell you, I know the game. I know how it works. I was out there. I'm a man in this society, right? Like, if you don't know Tobe's background, by the way, Tobe Nwigwe is somebody, Nigerian, raised by his mother, needed help financially, was out there running the street, thought maybe he would become a great football player. He had the skills. Everybody thought he was going to make it to the NFL. All of a sudden, he gets injured. So he loses the scholarship. He can't play for the team anymore. Now he got to make a decision in life. And he made a decision every day rather than go back to the street. He said, I'm going to do this every day. Every day. If you look up his stuff, every day for a year, or not every day, once a week, he said, for 10 years, I believe he said, right? He had a 10-year plan. I'm going to do this every day. I'm going to put out content every day. I'm going to put out videos every day. I'm going to make once a week, I have to make a brand new song, right? So every day I got to be on my grind. If nobody support me financially, I still got to do it. He had a vision. And some sisters got mad at him, right? Because he told how he really felt. And his wife, will be the first one to agree with it and say, still, he treats me like a wife. But, he's Nigerian. So, Nigerian brothers can be a little sure of themselves, right? But he made it a point to say, like, even when it comes to my wife, I wasn't thinking about her. I wasn't attracted to her, not because whatever, but because, like, what's his focus? His focus is every day for 10 years, or every week. Sorry, I keep saying every day. Every week for 10 years, I'm going to put something out. And if at the end of these years it doesn't work, then okay, like, I put the work in, but I'm put the effort. At least let me put the effort in to see if what I feel that I have, this gift that I have, everything else has been taken away, but this gift I have that I've been circling around, whether I was in the streets, whether I came from a single father parent or lifestyle, whatever. And if I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna start using words like he uses Yahweh all the time. I'm gonna start talking about Yahweh and Yeshua and all this stuff, and I'm gonna keep bringing it up over and over and over and over again to a point to where people know what I stand for. And so now he's going to the BET Music Awards. He's going to he's is in line. Gets nominated to get a Grammy now. He's talking to an Erykah Badu, noticed by Jay-Z and Beyonce. No matter how you feel about him, if he's noticed by him, right? He's making sure if he can't bring his children and his wife to an event that he's being invited to, he's not trying to go. He's not trying, even though most of your money doesn't come off of YouTube clicks. You get pennies off of YouTube, right? But most of your money comes off of what? Off of touring. Matter of fact, it's something that I've been thinking about to start making sure that my personal life, I might start thinking about, like, actually having events that we invite people to do or whatever, and I just start speaking, right? Because you don't really people think that you make money off this. You can, but this is really just an opportunity for you to actually make real stuff. But he says, hey, even though I can make more money touring, he says, I'm not going to be that guy that leaves his family behind all the time. Right. So he says, since I'm not going to be the dude who's going to leave his family behind all the time, I'm going to make sure that I don't go on tour all the time. Even though it would make more sense financially for me to go on tour all the time. He says, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, Shaq owns JCPenney. He owns a lot of stuff. Right? A lot of people don't even know that he owns. Right? But you know, at the end of the day, so with Tobe, he did that for 10 years, or well, it was a 10-year plan. It didn't take him 10 years, but it took him a while, and every day. And it picked up, and it picked up. And now, you know, he's, for many people, a household name. Right? When he did the song Try Jesus, Don't Try Me, because I throw hands and stuff, that's Tobe. If you didn't know that who that was, that's Tobe and Wigwam, right? It took him a while to get to that place. He even bought the home he bought. They wear the same color for every video, pretty much. And he has a whole room painted in that color as well. And they did that where he bought the house with a vision. He bought the house because he wanted to have, and wanted part of the house to be something that they could use to make sure that they put on videos. Right. So I'm saying all these things like that, and he didn't have a father, but he had a vision. He had a plan. Right. And so he's working this thing out. But guess what? He was still under a pastor. He was still studying his word. His wife, I forget what her real name is. Forgive me. He calls her Fat, F-A-T, even though she's skinny. But he talks about she's fat because she's fat with blessing. She's fat with the spirit. He didn't even necessarily like her at first because he was vision oriented. She was on him. And she said that, you know, she recognized him. She even has a lyric in the song that she's on where she says that, you know, she was with him when he was broke on Causeway. Right. But she saw a vision. And the vision now is something that we're now, you know, that her and their them and their children are taken care of. I was watching something last night where he was invited to something on Capitol Hill where they were doing a tribute to Pharrell. And the maturity and everything that he presented was like, it was a blessing to see him move. Yeah, she saw the mission. The mission was something that was going to secure her and protect her. How you doing, Truth? How you doing, Sister Keita? Yeah, he's very awesome. And see, this is what I'm saying is that we don't think about this as being a father. Yeah, he wears grills and stuff like that. Right. He even wears slides. You'll see him all the time. He has slides on. He has sandals on. He always has slides on. He doesn't have you know, he doesn't really wear the sneakers and stuff like that. He says he does that to keep him humble. And I like that, by the way. I'm not trying to say he biting or I came up with it first or whatever. But those of you who know me, I always wear, you know, Walmart specials. Always. I got 3 of them. I got one in black, one in brown, and then got another one in brown that's even easier to slide because I don't know, it's like this little thing in between my toes. So I got one that's like an actual slide, like I guess you call that a flip flop, right? Or maybe a sandal with no back. I don't know, but I'm open toe all day myself, right? Right. The Walmart specials, ain't no shame in my game. Mess around and y'all mess around and y'all hang up with Pastor Kofi one day. Y'all be careful. Y'all hang around Pastor Kofi and my family. Y'all gonna be going to the swap meet. Y'all gonna be going to the Dollar Tree. You're gonna be going to I don't do the Dollar General that much. I don't like the selection, but you're gonna be going to even though I guess they're owned by the same people. No, Family Dollar and Dollar Tree, same people. But my bathroom when I was single. My bathroom used to be Family Dollar all day. Go in there, get a $50 package, get like, you know, couldn't afford much. So once a month, 3 months straight, you buy different colors. People come in your house once a month, be like, how is it that you keep changing your color scheme in your bathroom like that? You ain't about $50. Look like you doing some things. You know what I'm saying? Right. Coming out there looking strong with your stuff. Right. They're like, man, you got a dolphin thing going on. How you do that? It's like, I ain't no designer. There's somebody out there that made it easy for me. Right. But I'm just saying, right. Y'all go to a place, we end up, what do you call y'all can see I don't shop that much. What do you call, what is that called? I see it in my head. It's even a church. People don't know it's a church. Salvation Army. I don't go to the Salvation Army because they don't have stuff that I wear. But mess around, let me find out there's a place where there's African families that give their clothes to certain places or whatever. I would be there in a heartbeat. I mean, I get some of this stuff where people make stuff for us as well and bless us with stuff. But yeah, I'll be there in a heartbeat, right? But some of y'all will see and be like, oh, they wearing this, blah, blah, whatever. Like I said this the other day, rich people don't dress like they're rich. Really, they do. Rich people dress rich, but you think that dressing rich means that you look better than everybody else. But rich people don't dress like they're rich. Rich people don't travel in the cars and make them look like they're rich. Right? I'm not saying they don't have toys and things like that. I'm just telling you, be surprised. Yes, are there some people that are balling and so they balling so much? But I mean, you got to be making a lot of money to be able to like taking jets everywhere, and everywhere you go is always, the special Uber or whatever you call the most advanced Uber. I forget, right? I'm not in that lifestyle. I'm not in that tax bracket, so to speak. I'm just telling you, like, but you'll look for a husband. And if you're not careful, if you're in that world, see, and we don't tell our boys this. So our boys, see, watch this. Sisters, I don't even blame you for this. Our boys use that as a barometer to challenge each other. How you doing, Sister Kimberly? Yeah, people think that if you wearing wealth, then it means but you don't pass down wealth. You're not passing it down, but you're trying to wear it. It's a bad context. It's a bad mindset to have. You rather wear something that should be passed down generation to generation. This is why it tells you in is this gonna work? Oh, praise God. That's why it tells you in Proverbs chapter 13, verse 22. The second half of it is what you guys always talk about. The wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just. So you like the wealth of the wicked, right? If the wicked have it, y'all says it's for me. But what's the first part of it say? It says those who are about generational wealth. You got to have a mindset to take care of your children's children. If you do not have a mindset to take care of your children's children, then the wealth of the wicked is not for you. Right? But we as boys, we're taught to fight about, oh man, bro, look at his shoes. Look at his shoes over there. He wearing them Shacks. He went to Payless. He went to Walmart for them shoes. I know guys who had to fast because they ain't had no food. On free lunch at school, right? They didn't do intermittent fasting. They did the reverse. They could get breakfast and lunch at school, and then they couldn't eat for the rest of the time because they couldn't afford it. But they had Jordans on, though. They had the AIs on. Y'all remember the AIs, the answer? First it was the questions, then it was the answer. They arguing over Crocs now? I didn't even know they were arguing over Crocs. When my son started rocking Crocs, I thought it was the weirdest thing in the world. Crocs to me look weird for some reason. I thought about getting some, but you know what it is? It's because I got boats for feet. I'm 6'5.5". My feet are big, so I think Crocs, they probably just look ugly on me. But I'm just saying, right? Like so before it's like sisters, right? Like sisters, y'all don't like guys now look for sisters' faces to always be made up in makeup because sisters were taught that they were supposed to cover their face. Right? Like sisters were taught that they were supposed to cover their face. So since y'all started covering up your face and getting eyelashes to compete against one another and started getting some of the stuff that y'all do and even the stuff you get done to your bodies, like, like I say this all the time, people get mad when I say it. Yeah, the struggle can be real. People get mad when I say it, but I tell people all the time, you can be mad at me when I say it all you want, but I'll say it again. Like I've never met another man ever in life where we've had a conversation about what makes a woman sexy or what they're attracted to in their spouse or whatever. And we've never had a conversation where they said them eyelashes. Right? But you do that to compete against each other. And really where you get that stuff from, the clothes that you're wearing and the eyelashes and the style and the designers and all that stuff that you look up to, that stuff really comes from, from men that aren't attracted to women, right? Because brothers, right? Like men that are, right? Like, watch this. Men don't really worry about eyelashes or whatever, but eyelashes on men look different. So really what you guys don't realize is that somebody's put on eyelashes for you that are actually like extended versions of men's eyelashes. I've heard this before from women. They'd be like, oh man, like y'all don't even have to do anything to your lashes. Your lashes just look blah, blah, blah. Do you not realize what you're saying? Do you not realize that you're telling me that my eyelashes are masculine? And you're saying that I want an accent, I want to be able to get those eyelashes, but make them a little longer. Like that's not coming from you. You said that it can look like peacocks sometimes. Right? The system is sus in many different ways. Right? Gucci. Is Gucci attracted to you, sister? Is Versace attracted to you? Matter of fact, I know people say, he didn't actually say this and that or whatever, but let me say it like this. Is Calvin Klein, is he married to you? Is he attracted to you? You got to figure out who these people are dealing with. They're trying to do things to make women who don't even who don't even look like you. Even if let's say they're trying to imitate a woman, right, or trying to be something, they're looking at another woman as a standard. They want to steal things from you, but ultimately turn into a standard for somebody else. You might as well make you the standard. Yeah, let's talk about that, Beat Bros, for sure. How you doing, one netta? You said they look like cows' lashes. Okay, hey man, I'm gonna go ahead, right? But I'm just saying, right? We have a lot of stuff that we're getting from play, and we're not even thinking about like who's attractive. Like, but guys do the same thing. Guys be out here trying to outdo stuff and trying to make sure their sneakers look better, or this look fresher, this and that, or whatever. And we make that a standard. And then we say, why do women want men that have all this? Well, because, bro, you got caught up in trying to outdo your brother. Remember Deuteronomy 28, verse 54 and 55? Go read it when you have a chance. We talked about it the other day, right? Remember we talked about that? And it says that our men are tender, they're unprepared, and therefore have become delicate. It's easy. They have no. They're unprepared. They're tender, and now they're delicate. So they're not strong. They're not mighty. They're not protectors. They're not watching over their families. They're not prayed up. And so when this happens, what does it say happens next? It says they start having an evil eye. Before they have an evil eye towards the wife of their bosom, the first person that says that they have an evil eye to give the side eye to is to their own brother. Why he got that car? Why he got those clothes? Why his woman is submitted to him, even though she should be submitted to the mission, not to him. But these are things that people say. How he get that job? How'd he get that car? So you start to compete, to covet. Is it not a commandment? Art thou not commanded to covet thine neighbor's items? To covet what thy neighbor has? So just like in nature, males have all the color and huge feathers and fur, etc. Yeah, right. But watch this. Unlike in nature, we don't have to be animals. This is what separates us. We used to have a saying, this is what separates us from the animals. Now people are so busy with the evolutionary mind of saying, I want to be like the animal. So now men say, I'm a beast. Why would you want to be a wicked government? You see that? I'm a beast, bro. Can't nobody do it like me. Beast mode. Why am I a beast? I mean, I get it, Lion of the tribe of Yehovah, stuff like that. I get it. But why am I a beast, though? Look at the language. That doesn't sound like you. Everybody got to go beast mode. Everybody's a dangerous animal. Everybody now when people play sports, you got to have that dog, and you ain't got that dog in you. Got to be the goat, the greatest of all time. Even though we want to be separated from goats, we'd rather be sheep, right? But these are things that we're doing. We're in such competition. So now, guess who that affects? See, people don't want to go down this route. See, sisters hear me say this in the beginning, and they're already so quick to up. He's patriarchy up. It's only a matter of time before. But hopefully, you get the mindset, because now, can you see the when the father is acting like this? Can you see how now the woman is acting like this? Here's a great example before somebody really tries to take this out of context, and this is for educational purposes only. But here's an example that might be able to help you to see exactly what I'm saying, exactly how I'm saying it, so that you don't have to try and take it any other way than what I mean. Where do high heel shoes come from? Who were they made for originally? I just want to give you an example of how you can so out of whack with something. Yeah, high heel shoes were made for men. They were made for men, and really not even men as much as men or little boys that men dealt with. Why? Because in Greek culture, their genre, or what you call gender, because gender doesn't mean male or female. Gender means the style that the people have within a culture, which is why even a lot of the stuff that people are telling you is a gender, it can't be a gender if it's not attached to a culture. If you just say, I feel like being something, but it's not attached to a culture, by definition, it cannot be a gender. Every culture says that men and women operate a certain way. If you go to Chinese culture and their men and women act a certain way, then that's their gender by definition. Just to help you out, just for educational purposes only. Somebody's gonna say, that's not what I define it as. That's not what I want it to be. Okay, cool. But then your culture that you're making up, you have the right to, I guess, try to make up your own culture. The problem with that is it's going to come from a bunch of cultures that came before it that are influencing you. Nevertheless, if you feel like you're going to make something that has never existed before, you're going to be the one to, recreate the wheel, and you're going to be the one to make sure that everybody has something that can stand out for them. Then, by all means, right? I'm just here to tell you it's not exactly what you think it is. But when you deal with gender, oh, you said stacks. See, I used to say, my wife laughs at me because I don't know nothing about them. I used to say pumps even until recently. She's like, pumps? But that's what I thought, I used to hear people talk about the red pumps, the blue pumps, the green pumps. You know what I'm saying? But, whatever. So, but when you're dealing with the high heel, you're dealing with that type of raised shoe. Not a regular, but I'm talking about when you get the raised heel. That came from a genre where it comes from something called platonic relationships. Now, you guys think platonic relationships just means that you have a friend, and you got to be careful about the spirit. You think that a platonic relationship means that I have somebody who I'm a friend with, and they're male, or one side is male, one side is female, but we don't have a sexual attraction, right, towards each other. So you guys say since we don't have the sexual attraction towards one another, then we're in a platonic relationship. When the word platonic relationship actually comes from Plato, who was supposed to be in their culture one of the greatest minds. See, this is when you got to know somebody's culture. In their culture, Plato is supposed to be one of the greatest minds to ever exist in their culture. So in their culture, Plato is supposed to be, he is somebody who determined a lot of things for them and who they looked up to and who a lot of people still look up to this day. Plato said that it was the worst relationship that one could have with somebody would be that between a husband and a wife. That's what he declared, that the worst relationship one could have with somebody would be a relationship between a husband and a wife, right? And he said the best relationship that someone could have would be between a man in his, in his early 40s, I guess, and a boy in his, a man in his early 40s and a boy somewhere in like what we would call the preteen years today. That was what Plato taught. And so those are platonic relationships. I know somebody said that, well, that's not what we mean, blah, blah. I'm trying to tell you the culture, right? And what they would do is they would put these boys, right, in high heel shoes. Or if you got to be older, if you were the woman in a relationship. Now, you had women that you were with, but they were just supposed to be in Greek culture. You had women you were with, but you were supposed to go ahead and have, they were side pieces. They were trophies. They had your children, but that was basically all they were there for. They had children for you, and that was it. You weren't worried about nothing else from them. You didn't need anything else from them because you didn't think that they were important. They were not of value. Right? How you doing, Latoya? And then we got 2 Latoyas that just came. We got 3 Latoyas on actually now. Probably have another one on soon. Praise y'all. We got a lot of Latoyas. Praise y'all for all of y'all. Right? But this is what they believed. This is what they taught. This was a cultural thing. This was a religious thing. And they would dress these boys up, or anybody who got older that still was the effeminate in the relationship, they might put on certain types of shoes because they also were into animalistic, not just animalistic, animal, for educational purposes only. They were into bestiality. So they were into all these things. And so one thing that they liked were what? Goats. This is why children, if you're not careful, a lot of you don't have a child. You say you have a kid, but a kid is a baby goat. Right? Right? A lion has a cub, bear has a cub, right? A dog has pups. Hyenas, I believe, have pups. Right? Um an elephant, I believe, has a calf. Right? Chickens have chicks, right? But what do you have? You're supposed to have a child, but what do you have? You have a kid. Why is that? Because of goats. They like goats, and they like little boys, and they put them in shoes. And if you notice, in these high heel shoes, what happens at the tip? What happens with the toe? The toe starts looking like a hoof. Sometimes it doesn't show the toe, but sometimes it squeezes the toes to where the toes look like hoofs. They squeeze together, right? This is the reality, right? Now, you would say that you're doing that to impress your sister, or just it's because you like to wear, which, by the way, look, sisters, let's be honest. Sometimes we wear clothes because what we want to wear, and brothers do this too, right? Sometimes you wear clothes because of what you want to wear. Sometimes you wear clothes because you're trying to make sure that people be like, dang, she got that thing going on there. Man, look at his setup today, all right? And this was something that they wore to attract the attention of the men who today we would call predators. At least most of us would call predators, who were going around like a roaring lion seeking whom they would devour. Sisters, or women of the day, they saw that men were attracted to them, and so they started trying to wear the high heels too. So now it's become a thing where it's for women, but it was never for women. Matter of fact, then it kind of died down until there was a French king who was very effeminate, who started wearing high heel shoes again, supposedly because he was short. He wasn't wearing the because I don't know, stacks mean that it comes up high, right? Like, but it's the whole thing, the front and the back come up, and the high heel is supposed to be just the back. The heel comes up, right? Something like that. I could be off, but right. But he started wearing high heels where it was low in the front, but he had the heel stacked. But it's a platform. Yeah. See, I don't know. I don't know. But I'm just saying, right? Like y'all see what I'm saying though, right? So you'll be wearing something and swear that it's for women when it was never designed for you. Matter of fact, a lot of sisters who have issues in your ovaries and who have issues with your womb, some of them can be traced to wearing high heel shoes, because you're not supposed to be like that and have your stuff in you tilted like that. You're not supposed to. right? I'm not saying, look, you don't have to listen to Pastor Kofi. I'm not saying throw away all your shoes, sis. I'm just trying to tell you, there's a lot of stuff. There's back pain. That's why a lot of times y'all I learned, look, for real, I was already wearing, because I was wearing stuff like this. I like being barefoot. My people like being barefoot. Whether you talk about the American side of me, the original American, not what we call Americans today, the American side of me. We want to talk about the African side of me, right? Or even the Israelite part of me. But especially once I got to Hawaii and then started going to assemblies over there or church over there, and I was wearing this stuff anyway. Everybody's wearing this stuff, and then I got into church culture later in life, and you saw that sisters would wear this stuff, and they'd have y'all had the flip flops, but y'all also have you'd have your high heels. You wear your high heels in, so everybody saw you had your high heels on, and then you throw these off. I was like, man, shoot, ain't no shame in my game. I don't have to be no woman to do that. I was like, I started wearing them too. I started wearing the flip flops too. I'm like, shoot, I'm gonna be comfortable in this worship. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm finna be comfortable in worship. Y'all gonna be up here because brothers' shoes be hurting more than they should. I got wide feet, man. They don't make shoes for all of them pointed and all this stuff in there. I was like, nah, man, I'm out. I don't even like shoelaces no more. For real. I don't even like shoes with laces. I don't even want to wear shoes with laces no more. If you see me with shoes with laces, I got them because I had an emergency situation or a funeral like that I had to do, or something. I had some event I need to go to, and or some place we were going to eat. And the only way we can get in there, or if it's snow, of course, like snowshoes, snow boots, something like that. But other than that, I'm not really trying to wear no laces. That's not even something that we did. Why we need laces on shoes? That's somebody else's culture. They going through stuff. They going through the snow. They're doing all this, and then when they come to other things, they still got the laces on to tie those things tight so they don't get snow inside their shoes. Right? I don't live in snow. I mean, now we do, but I'm just saying our people weren't living in snow like that. I'm not saying there are no African places where it snows. I'm just saying, right? I'm not saying there's obviously no North American, but even in that, right? If you even see that, the laces on stuff like that are even for people who are dealing with snow. A lot of times they don't even need the laces. Sometimes they just tighten up strings. Anyways, though, I'm getting off track. That's go down that rabbit hole at some point if you want. I don't know why I'm going out a laces rabbit hole, but long story short, once again, we have people that don't know who they are, and so we're doing things to try and impress each other, and it's not even our culture, and it's not you might be trying to impress somebody with something that's not even for you. You're trying to impress somebody with something that's not even for you. Yeah, Prince wore high heels. By the way, Prince, by the way, was highly effeminate. I don't know if he was bi or anything. I'm not saying that, but he was definitely highly effeminate. But Prince and Michael Jackson, and a lot of people from that era too, El DeBarge, right? All that, like a lot of people from that era. If you look at them, even if they were more masculine, but they still did weird things where it seemed like they might be kind of all over the place. The Village People, they were right. I think they were at least they were at least making the point to say that they were fighting for LGBTQ rights or something like that. But even stuff like Cameo, y'all remember Cameo? Word up, everybody say when you hit, all you got to get right. That guy or those guys, right? All these people that were wearing odd stuff that was effeminate, like even Little Richard, even though Little Richard did deal with homosexuality somewhat, right? But I want you to know, yeah, but well, hear what I'm saying. I want you to know that all those guys, full force, a lot of them, right? Even some of the rappers that came out, if you look at what they were wearing some of the same stuff, right? But I want you to know the reason why they were doing that is because you had to, especially like Little Richard's time, you had to be pretty, right? What am I saying pretty? Like you had to be somebody that didn't look masculine, or else you couldn't sell records. Brother from Switch, right? Like, so Little Richard, even though he might have been dealing with some stuff, and he got into that lifestyle and everything, Little Richard started putting makeup on because the girls were fawning over him. So if the girls are fawning over him, they're gonna be like, you can't be around these girls. These white girls can't be looking at you like that. So what did they do? So what does he do? You make yourself look effeminate. So that way, hey, you know what? He's not a threat. That's what they did, right? A lot of our people did that. You're not a threat, right? It used to be everybody got your hair done. And when you got your hair done, you got your hair perm, male or female, you got your hair perm, right? Males would get their hair perm more than the females. And when they got their hairs perm, it was what? So you wouldn't be a threat. And they would even say, when you got your hair perm, they say, "Ooh, look white, don't it?" That's what they would say to each other. Look white, don't it? Right? Your goal was to make it look white, and therefore the white people knew you weren't white, but the fact you were looking like them and trying to become effeminate to look like them. Somebody missed that. I'm not going to explain that. I'll say it one more again, and then I'm gonna leave it alone because it's for educational purposes and somebody which only and some just for educational purposes only. And somebody try to say that I'm trying to say that every white person. Well, I don't know. Hear what I'm saying? They would make sure that you did something to make yourself look more effeminate, and when you look more effeminate, they would say you look more white, and when you look more white, you were acceptable, right? Fried, died, and laid to the side. I forgot about that saying. Come on now, that's old school right there. I forgot about that. My mama used to say that. Amen. Praise y'all for deliverance from it. Grand Rising, how you doing? Shane Israel. Feel like it's been a long time. Hopefully you've been doing well. Shit, that's how deep white supremacy runs in this country. It's a damn shame, right? And a lot of us, what's happened is we've gone from laying our hair to the side. See, once again, a call to fathers. This is why a lot of guys are angry. They learn this stuff. And then they realize nobody told me this. Nobody showed me this. Nobody got me in a better position. Nobody protected me from this. And they're angry now. And you're dealing with a wrath that is that we have to deal with. We have to help these older boys, these 70-year-old boys, these 60 and 50 and 40 and 30 and 20 and teenage and little boys to get past the anger of being in a system that is anti them. Because now we stop laying it to the side. And now what we do is we just cut it off. And we say that cutting it off, that's our culture, but that was never your culture. Well, I won't say never. Some of you come from tribes to where you might just leave the hair short and never do anything to it. And it gets beat up by the sun because you're always out in the sun all the time. Like some of you come from cultures where they cut some of it to where there's certain valleys. Depends on the tribe, right? However, we have this weird philosophy that we weren't supposed to grow, like that we're supposed to have short hair all the time, and that it's because it's neat. It's like the same thing they tell you about gardens, make sure that your yard is kept. What does that mean? If it's unkept, then it's not cut, right? So make sure you get rid of the weeds and the things that you can eat that would actually heal your body. They do the same thing with your head. If you're going to work for us, you can't come in here with something that might heal your body. You got to come in with something that makes us feel comfortable. Why? Because when they made you slaves, just like they do at boot camp, when they made you slaves, they cut your hair off. You cut your hair off, you cut the person's identity off. Now, we could get into some places where y'all might think it's conspiracy theory. You think I'm going into some stuff that's not real or this and that or whatever, because we could talk about what is that your antenna? We could talk about that your hair does stuff that the trees do. We could talk about that, like even with this, right? Like as my hair gets longer, goes, but I go through stuff where sometimes, when my hair is before it gets to be a certain length, right? Like you can see this is kind of doing it, but it's still locked. It's locking to this. But I have times where my hair, y'all have seen it before, where my hair is, I had one thing of hair that for a while before my hair grew recently, where I think it was this one, it would come up and it would just stay here, and then right, and it would just stay like that, right? Like I literally, how you doing, Minister Rochelle? Right? I used to have hair, right? A hair that used to do this. It used just to stay in place, and I would try my best to put it back. I would try to put it back, and it would slowly, it would stay here, then boom, right? It had to, right? Like this is the same one, but it used to be like down here, and as it's grown, now it's gotten heavier, so it doesn't do it, but it wants to raise up to the sun. Why does it want to raise up to the sun? Okay, Tony. Well, there's ways to be able to repair that stuff as well. And even maybe eat some things that probably cause the pores and stuff like that to do stuff and damage before it becomes too late. But even if you have to be bald, I'm not speaking against you. I'm just saying in our mind, we think, as a matter of fact, even when somebody's going bald, in our mind, we come from a culture where we're afraid of that. By the way, nobody was really afraid like that, or hey, it was something that naturally happened to people, and sometimes it just might have to be like that. And then all of a sudden, Michael Jordan comes along. He wasn't the first person, but I mean, around that era. And now, hey, if you start losing your hair, just shave it bald. And he made it cool. And so, since one person makes it cool, now we all just shave it bald. But it used to be okay if you had a bald spot. Like, it used to be okay if your hairline was receding a little bit. It used to be all right. It used to be all right. you know, like, if that happens to you, okay. But see, once again, what's the standard? Who taught you that your hairline receding was a thing that you needed to be afraid of letting everybody see? Yeah, George Jefferson. By the way, I didn't notice it recently. I've been on this kick, especially since we watched that, or I listened to that video where they were talking about how to sell the Negro. Um, I've been watching a lot of older stuff and a lot of older commercials. This is one thing I watched where it was nothing but just old commercials with our people in it. And, like George Jefferson's in there with somebody that you would think nowadays, you would like, how, and I know he's doing stuff, but I'm just saying, you would think to yourself, how is he with her? Right. But back then, having a cul-de-sac wasn't a thing that like caused you anything. Matter of fact, if y'all know Earth, Wind, and Fire, come on. Brother Maurice, he had the cul-de-sac, and or I don't even know if he had the cul-de-sac. His stuff just was pushing back and pushing back. He had the whatever dude's name is, his last name is White, on the Boston Celtics. It's spelled out White. His last name is White. But he got the thing now. I mean, it's ridiculous. I think, but I think he could do something different with it if he's going to try to keep the hair or whatever. But but George Jefferson, you said today, wasn't nobody saying nothing bad about him. Matter of fact, people thought, I mean, even though he was funny and he was irritating, but I mean, everyone out there that thought George Jefferson was sexy. How you doing, Mr. Tracy? By the way, please go to Mr. Tracy's page if you can, and please look through and scroll through his stuff and see if you can find the GoFundMe and share it at your earliest convenience. Right. But yeah, people are now, we traded it in where we're shaving our head. So now guys are like sitting there thinking the shape up is something that makes you better. Like, but are shape ups even natural? Why is it that shaping your head to be something that's not natural, shaping your hair to be something that's natural is something that you look up to? Who told that to you? Who told you that was acceptable behavior? Who made you believe that's something that you need to be ready for and down for? Who told you need to be willing to die? Not die, sorry. I'm going a different place. Excuse me. Let me get back on track. Who told you that you need to be willing to pay to make sure that your hair is shaped a certain way, that it's parted a certain way, this and that? Like, where'd that come from? Like, they parted stuff in your hair to be able to tell who you were owned by, or how much you were worth, or if you had been purchased. I mean, that's real talk. But we're still carrying it. And so, in this call to fathers that we're talking about, this is part 4 of this series within the series, dealing with this system that is suspect on so many different things. That's sus. And this call to fathers. How you doing, Melissa? How you doing, Reginald? How you doing? Hello again, Minister. Right, family. In this call to fathers, we got to have an honest dialogue, yo. Let's be honest. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it 100. Let's keep it truth. Right. Our sons, our men, our fathers are walking around with anger all day because everything is against them and against them becoming the best version of themselves. Once again, if I see a father and I'm under siege, remember, this is Deuteronomy 28. Everybody talks about this, but nobody goes here to look at this issue of anger. If I'm dealing with being under siege all day, the Bible declares unto me that I will become unprepared. I'll be super delicate. I can't take anything. Now I'm in a position to where I start looking side eye at my brother. And when I now look at my brother, another man in competition, then it says the result of that is what? Now I start looking at my wife in competition. I've gotten into competition so much with my brother, and now I bring the competition home. Just like you bring your work home, right? Be careful, right? We say that, people tell you all the time, don't bring your work home. Be careful. Leave the job at the job. If you're going to the beach, go to the beach. Don't bring your stuff to the beach, and you don't even see your children growing up because you're so busy typing this and doing this or whatever. One of the reasons why I've slowed down on some stuff that I'm doing myself, because I found myself playing with my son, right? And by the way, I don't mind talking on the phone, doing stuff, but literally it was into a point where I'm supposed to be playing with my son, but my son is having to take 5-minute breaks on a regular basis in our playtime because I'm sitting up there typing up agendas and stuff, right? Like, you don't need to bring that to the family. We feel like we have to because we're under siege. So now, and so it says after the fathers are under siege, and it says now they're unprepared, they haven't been raised correctly, and now they're right, and now they're delicate about everything. And since they're delicate about everything, they get in competition with their own brother. Now they're getting competition with other men, and so now they start bringing that competition home. You're in competition with your wife, and then it says now you feed, rather than feed your children, you feed off of your children. Right? This is the natural progression. Now, everybody will say Deuteronomy 28, but it says it very clearly, Deuteronomy 28, 54 and 55. And then it tells you verse 56. That's why your wife is acting like that. Because now it says, matter of fact, with her, it says that she is tender, she's unprepared, and she can't take stuff. And then it says to the point with her to where she doesn't even want to go. She would not peradventure. She would not leave something. She anybody she before, so she closes off all the stuff that normally she should feel free to go out and do, and instead she closes off everything and won't even go out anymore. How many sisters have stopped going to the store because they're afraid? So they spend an extra money to have everybody else shop for them because they're afraid. See, I'm just trying to tell you, like, this stuff affects. And then it says the children, ultimately, they get affected by the mother and the father being out of position. See, a call to fathers today is not just to say that only fathers matter, right? It's just like I said, be careful. This conversation, remember, Black Lives Matter. Well, no lives matter till Black Lives Matter. I'm not sitting up here telling you that no lives matter till fathers' lives matter. What I'm saying is fathers better get in position if we want this to be right. You don't build a nation without fathers, just like you can't build a nation without mothers. Right. And what's happened, once again, we're in competition, and men who are angry, they get in competition with each other first. I can't be like those men. So now look at your shoes, bro. Now you playing the dozens. Now you frying somebody up. Now you joning on them. Man, that's junk, man. You see this bird, man? That's junk right there, man. Whatever. He a Bama right there. I'm using certain slang. If you're not from there, from certain places, you might not have comprehended what I'm talking about. But long story short, you make fun of somebody. Man, look at the gap in his teeth. Man, look, man, he ain't even wear, man. Look at him wearing that little African stuff, whatever. That's look at him wearing his little stuff. He think he Cherokee. He think that he Haudenosaunee. He think that he Navajo. What is he? What if he is? And then once again, whoever has you under siege, right, is what you start competing over. And you start competing over the crumbs of what might be there. The only things that slip through the seas that they have you on. Right? So what do we argue about? We don't argue about stuff that's ours. We argue over stuff that everybody else has. Right? We're arguing over what everybody else has. This is why you want brand name. You want brand name, not because brand name is any better than something that you could make as a brand for yourself. When you say brand name, you don't mean your people, because we got people within our community that do a lot of stuff, and we still don't support each other in our business. And some of that's on me. I'm gonna get it together. But also some of it, like people are like, well, you didn't put this, and I don't like the way you put this, and the thing that you sent out to everybody as far as information was really bad and blah blah. Okay, cool. When's the last time that you texted somebody in the community or even texted me and said, hey, can I support so and so? Because I know who does and who doesn't. Right? There shouldn't be one person in here that's looking for, that has to go somewhere else for lotion or for shea butter. We got that on lock. It's natural. And we're not trying to sell it to anybody, so you don't have to worry about getting watered down. There's not one person in here that should have to worry about any of that. That person should have a business that's turned into an empire. We got hundreds of us that are off, some of us off and on, but we got hundreds of us at least locked in on some kind of regular basis, where there shouldn't be one person in here that has to go to anybody else for any type of shea butter. Because if you get shea butter lasts forever when you get the real deal, right? You get you a little cup of shea butter, that thing lasts you about a month, even if you're using it on your whole body, right? So there's not one thing, right? There's not one thing that any of us in here should one other thing. So it's not because we don't have it. It's because we don't utilize it. There's not one person in here should have to worry about going to life coaching or marital coaching anywhere else. I can't speak to the marital coaching for a ministerial staff, but life coaching, we have plenty of people on here that you can give a donation to, or whatever if they turn into business, if they want to do their pricing or whatever, right? For us, we do that via donation, right? But I'm just saying, there's not one person that should have to go anywhere else for that. And the way we work via donation, as far as SOC, as far as me personally, the way I work as far as is like, even if you don't give a donation, that's between you and Yah. Still give you the help that you need, but that's not because we don't have it. We have people in here that can crochet. You need something for your baby, there's people in here that can make something. That if you need something that looks really nice, if you want to cover a blanket, stuff like that, you don't have to like purchase it through Amazon, this and that, or whatever. You can purchase through your sister. People in here that make shirts. You want to rock a shirt? You want to rock a hoodie? Y'all seen them? We got multiple people in here with multiple designs. Multiple people here with multiple designs. I'm just saying, we have enough talent. We have people in here that are helping us to try and complete, making sure that we get these the Hebrew character stuff, where your children can, whether they get blocks with it or whether they can have something that they can feel, right? Whether you want something where somebody can literally sew it. Now that might be a little expensive, but if you want to, like I mean, be able to get like something where somebody weaves in the characters and you can feel stuff, literally feel the characters on what's going to be, is it weaved or woven? I'm not sure, right? But we have those things in us already. I mean, these are some of the things. There are people in here that can help you with your website. There are people in here that can help you with your website, help you to be able to get your stuff copywritten. People in here that can help you to write books. Once again, we don't see it within ourselves. So once again, if I'm somebody that doesn't see that within myself, how do I build a nation? Now back to our fathers. If I'm a man who has never seen this stuff in himself or never seen it cultivated within himself, how does that work? Right? Like Zoom is a thing that we can use easily, right? Or you got all types of stuff we can use. So there's people on here, like if you want your child to learn how to dance, there's people on here to dance. I mean, there's not one thing that we need to do outside of this community. No need to be sorry. I wasn't trying to say anything towards you. But I'm just saying, right? Like we have gifts in here. We have gifts in here. We have people who do massage therapy. We have gifts in here. We have people who make desserts. We have gifts. And I'm talking about I'm talking people who make desserts where people are paying, hundreds upon hundreds of dollars. They're making thousands of dollars sometimes at a time easily. We have people who are caterers. We have people who set up weddings. We have people who do all this stuff. Like there's not one thing. We're a big enough community where we have people who have like brothers who are looking for work. We have people who are out here who are truckers. If you're a trucker, we have a trucking, or it's not ours, but we have somebody who is over a trucking company. If you're somebody that wants to learn about trucking, we have somebody who can teach you. I mean, these are things that are real. that we could literally institute. And instead, what are we doing? We're always looking for somebody else. We have a university. See, once again, what is a pastor? Pastor in our culture is a kohelet. He is an assembler. The kodesh is a assembly. My responsibility is not to always be over you, tell you what to do, this, that, whatever. My responsibility is to assemble people and allow an environment to where we can all be leaders over it together, and you can establish your gift. Thank you, Sister Nadine. Appreciate it. All right. Stir up the gift. Stir up the gifts. All right, glad you made it home, Sister Mignon. Right? Stir up the gifts that are in thee. What is your gifting? And is right? What are your people's giftings? You hear what I'm saying? Like, what are your people's giftings? How you doing, Ratchet? Have you thought to yourself that that in your tithing, bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse? Maybe 10% of your income should go towards making sure that SOC business is taken care of. And you should make sure your business is on the list. Think about that. Now, really, it should get to a place where at some point it's close to 100%. I know we get there because we don't have our own phones and we don't have this and that or whatever. But hear what I'm saying? Like, at some point, the goal should be, man, we get our food from SOC, from each other. You grow this, I grow. I mean, we've been talking about this for a while. Some of y'all have been growing it, but we still don't have enough to where we can get the line. So I can only introduce this stuff, but I'm not going to put full effort in the stuff. I can't put full effort, but it's not there, right? But we have enough people that are growing things in certain places to where we could meet up. Now, we're not close enough yet because the goal is, because look, watch this. We have people that are, as far as I'm aware of, we have people that go all the way from Rhode Island, all the way down to the bottom of Florida. On the east, and everywhere people live within an hour of each other, some way, somehow, some way, all the way up and down. If I would just use 95, well, I don't know if Rhode Island 95 where that works because I haven't used it to get up there. But if you, right, so all the way up, right, all the way up and down, we should be able to utilize this stuff, and we could literally just be somebody. And so, in essence, in theory, we have people that should be able to reach people from Rhode Island with something that they have all the way down to South Florida. Somebody in South Florida says, I need something. Somebody in Rhode Island makes it. We at SOC should love the person enough to be like, okay, look, we're going to make a schedule and you might have to wait a week, but we can do that within ourselves. I can meet somebody half an hour away from where I am. We'll meet up. I'll take it, meet somebody, the next day or maybe the same day, whatever. And we within a week can get something from one place all the way down to the next. Like, that's the capability we have. We don't think about doing that. Why? Because in your mind, you go to the post office for that. In your mind, you go to UPS for that. In your mind, you're going to use FedEx for that. In our mind, we go to everybody else, but you have the ability. Like, think about this. Somebody could be growing food in South Florida right now and get it to somebody in North Carolina, right? Within the same day. That's the ability that you have, but that's in you. But we keep thinking we have to go somewhere else. Now, once again, call the fathers. Why are these fathers angry? Why don't we teach our fathers that we have that ability in themselves, right? The father, I as a father had the ability to reach out to the father over here, and the father over here has the ability to reach out to the father over here. The father in me is connected to the father in you. By the way, the father in me comes from the father, right? So the father that's in me in the kingdom of heaven is in you, and so we should attach to each other as fathers. And this is why fathers are necessary and mandatory and proper fatherhood. Not just saying I'm a man that had a child, not just saying I meet the bare minimum. Excuse me, the bare minimum. I pay child support, right? That's bare minimum. And some people are forced into those positions, sure, but everybody is not just by force. We're making choices and decisions to allow this stuff to keep rolling like that. And when people look at us strange, right? Like you got to ask yourself, why is it that they even, and this isn't even statistically correct, by the way. Statistics show that our diaspora in the United States of America are actually the most involved with their children by percentage, right? So our fathers are actually, believe it or not, even though which shows you how crazy some other people are in this country as far as not being there for their children, right? But our diaspora, actually by percentage, we're the most dedicated to our children. There are single fathers on here that I talk to all the time. We're always trying to figure out how to do stuff right, but we don't think about them, right? And as Father's Day comes up, I want to put this stuff out there because I just want fathers to know, right? Like, I get it. We see you. We do need to be better, and ultimately, heavy is the head that wears the crown. We're not going to be able to excuse terrible behavior. However, it's real that there are some men that are going through some things, and we need to have some psychological evaluations done, and we need to deal with PTSS, as Dr. Joy DeGroy would say, or some post-traumatic slave syndrome, or even some PTSD, right, that people are dealing with that they've been raised with. Just like the only reason you whip your child is because you were whipped by the overseer, and the overseer would sometimes let the parent whip the child before they would, because the overseer might try to take them to the brink of death. You would hurt the child, but would only hurt the child just enough that the overseer would be pleased and the child would get the message. So you would whip your child because you love them. That's why people say, I only whoop you because I love you. Yeah, it can hurt your heart to be in a position where you're not with your child, for sure, right? Our goal is, though, right, and I get it, the whipping, would save the life, so that's what they had to do. But if you're in a community and you're starting to look at things as far as your diaspora and what it's supposed to be, that doesn't have to be the case anymore. And thank you for the love. And how you doing, Sister Cheryl? Right? That doesn't have to be the case anymore. We don't have to do that. He's going to return the hearts of the fathers to the children. He's going to return the hearts of the children to the fathers. We signed up for marriage and didn't know what it was, yo. That's ultimately, Willie Lynch told you that. Ultimately, they took away marriage from you. And when they took away marriage from you, you didn't realize that meant that they took away Yah's will, they took away the father's will, they took away the mother's will, they took away the will for the children. Oh yeah, we were just talking about that earlier. 13th Amendment, yeah, chattel slavery still allowed, right? So they took away these things, and we just go, oh, this is why you hear people say stuff that's strange. It should be strange or foreign to you. It should be foreign. It should be strange. It should be an immigrant to your daily walk. But you'll hear people say stuff and they think that it's real. They'll say, well, before somebody told you that there was that there was a God, did your people believe in God? First of all, no, we didn't, because God's a Germanic term. But if you're talking about Elohim, not Elohim, but if you're talking about Elohim, if you're talking about Ha, if you're talking about Nun, if you're talking about Netchers, if you're talking about Gianyame, if you're talking about Onyon Capone, if you're talking about Anansi, if you're talking about Yarija, et cetera, right? Yes, we did have those, right? But people are we're using somebody else's prism, and we're so angry that now we're willing to separate from everything as if some of this stuff was manipulated. See, what some of our fathers need to recognize, or if you're on your way to becoming a father, or if you're going to be stronger as a father, as am I, what some of us don't realize and recognize is that modification, genetically modified, is not the only type of modification. See, a lot of stuff has been modified. It's been patented. Remember, by law, you cannot patent something that the Most High created. You can only patent it if you change it, if you modify it. Once it's modified, then you can say that it belongs to you, even though technically that's not real either. But hey, that's how law works. Well, in a lot of people's mind, we modify, and so you go through a modified existence. Watch this. What is hip hop? Somebody help me out. What is hip hop style? Now I know what hip hop is as far as 5 different things, right? You're dealing with dance, you're dealing with music, you're dealing with art, or some people say graffiti art, but you're dealing with art or tagging. You're dealing with DJing, and you're dealing with MCing, right? I get it, but when somebody says we have hip hop style, what do they even mean? Like, what is hip hop style? Yeah, in fashion, right? Yeah, what we wear. Sorry, I think I said music twice. Thank you. Right. What is hip hop style? even me, right? Hip hop style is nothing more than wearing what somebody else wears. And what, I take my hat and I put it to the side, or I put it backwards, or I cut off part of the shirt so my belly showing. I sag my pants instead of wear my pants regular. Like, what is actual hip hop style? Like, it's not your style. It's something that's what? It's the person under siege who's saying that I'm gonna take the stuff that people would look down upon, and I'm gonna say that's cool. When the thing that we should be doing is saying, what did we, instead of trying to figure out what others look down upon and making it work, why don't we look to see what used to be our standard that we looked up to? Hip hop is a rebellion. It can be. Problem with it is though, is Jay-Z rebellion? Jay-Z probably more tapped into the system than anybody else. He's trying to tell you how to make sure you work like the system. I'm not saying that he doesn't have some great points as far as, hey, I brought this and it was worth 1 million. It was worth 2 million, or whatever the lyric was. I'm not saying that he has nothing of value to say, but Jay-Z was the one that basically silence was the last part of helping to silence Colin Kaepernick. And even if it's gangster, right? Like if it's G music, right? If it's gangster, whatever. Before it was called gangster, right? The Bloods and the Crips, they were supposed to protect the community. The CIA got in there. Now your Bloods and Crips are CIA owned. And even if JC was for the streets, here's something else. Once again, see, and this is what happens. We have angry young men and we're using them as a barometer. Like, no offense to these people. I don't know them. I don't know everything about their life. I can only go off of what I hear and what I study and what I do see them do and write out sometimes, right? But I can't say I know everything about them. I don't know them. However, let's keep it a buck. I don't have more respect for you because you come from the streets. Early hip hop, some of it was, yeah. I'm not gonna act like NWA wasn't nice to hear some rebellion, but NWA wasn't only just F the police, and NWA wasn't treating people cool, right? I think we romanticize it, like Public Enemy, sure. KRS-One, knowledge reigns supreme over everyone. Okay, now you talking to me. Even a lot of J. Cole. I wasn't even a J. Cole fan at first, but I give credit where credit's due. J. Cole talk about some real stuff. And getting your life better and stuff like that. Even a touch. I wouldn't say he's conscious or anything, but what's his name? The guy who made the song about Will Smith and then said, "Hold up, y'all ain't crazy." Whoever that is, I really like his flow. And some of the stuff he said, he's done some stuff with J. Cole as well. Tupac, of course, but Tupac has some stuff that was out there. But Tupac, of course, we ain't gonna act like he ain't have Brenda's Got a Baby and I Ain't Mad at You. And even All I Need in This Life is Sin is Me and My Girlfriend is him talking about a gun and stuff like that or whatever. But he was big on protecting yourself, right? Dear Mama, right? I get it, right? I get it. Joyner Lucas, thank you. Joyner Lucas, yeah. Amazing flow. Wasn't a fan of his at one point either. And just listening to him a little bit has made me go, like he nice. Like flow is nice, but even some of the stuff he says, even if I don't agree with it, I at least like the fact that he's bringing the stuff up where it's like, okay, we can have dialogue, we got conversation. He putting some stuff out there. Like even what is it? I don't remember the lyrics. Hold up, yeah, I ain't crazy. I can't remember the lyrics, but it's like during the hook, it's like he said he used to think that it was crazy to make a meal or something like that, but now maybe he will or something like that. I'm messing up the lyrics, but like those are things out there that I like to hear, that are nice things to hear, that we should be able to hear, that we should be able to have dialogue about, that we should be able to grow within. Even if you don't like the fact that Lecrae is kind of starting to shy away from being attached to the Bible somewhat, but even Lecrae, others out there, who was Kendrick before Kendrick? Kendrick, of course. Who was Kendrick before Kendrick? Skater, whatever. Lupe Fiasco, right? So there's a lot of people out here, We're doing many great things, and or I don't know if I say great, the way that y'all might think great, but they're out here trying to help people and help the diaspora and get a lot of stuff done that needs to get done and have an honest conversation. But what I'm trying to say is that the prism that we go through, a lot of it is not ours. Ultimately, that's what I'm trying to say is a lot of it's not ours, right? Like, what is hip hop style? Once again, hip hop style is taking somebody else's pants and sagging it. Whether you only sag your pants because in places like San Quentin, they used to have them sag the pants to say that you belong to somebody. So those people who belong to somebody came out, try to go back in and try to keep that on the DL because they can't have anybody let them know that they went through some real trauma in there where somebody took their manhood, emasculated them, and so they go out here and they emasculate others and they try to go, try to leave that mindset of being SA'd behind, but they try to go into relationships with sisters and can't go forward in relationships because of what they're dealing with from their past. Like these are the items that we don't talk about, but they're very real. But that's a hip hop style. But why do you wear it? Why you wear snapbacks? Snapbacks, you didn't make snapbacks. That's not yours. Why is it that people are more concerned about hip hop fashion than this? Because hip hop fashion is not your fashion. Once again, I'm not saying, y'all know I listen to hip hop. I'm not saying that there are some stuff that people wear in hip hop that I'll go, ooh, that's fresh. Real talk though, like, why don't you wear your stuff? Why don't you think this is the standard? Why is it that the torn up version of somebody else's stuff, why is it that holes in your jeans sell for $120 a pop, but you wearing your own tunic is something that you would never think about? You'll wear some jeans for $120 with the holes poked in them, right? But you won't wear your own stuff. You won't go to a boutique and pay, for sisters, your stuff is usually less money at the boutique, the African boutique, any boutique, for real. Men's stuff is normally more expensive, but you can go to the African boutique, thinking there, if you got $200, walk out with some really nice, at least 3-4 nice outfits. But we don't even think about this. Like, where, if you, and I know not all natives wear the same thing, but just certain native tribes, like, where are your moccasins? There are people out there that make them. Do you look for them? Even if you got to start off with the Amazon special, whatever. At least wear something that when you walk down the street, it looks like you. You see, and then why do you think like just simple stuff? Why do you think that that's when that guy wears something and he's wearing his tunic and he's wearing what you would call pants and stuff like that? You think that that's Muslim, not realizing that's African. Mm-hmm. And by the way, Kanye West, once again, look at the prism. So Kanye West, a lot of stuff that you guys, I don't know if he still does, but a lot of stuff like the Yeezys and Yeezy wear and all this stuff or whatever. But his fashion line, a lot of it, people said it looks like it's homeless people's clothing. And not to make fun of homeless, I've been homeless, right? And a lot of people who are homeless don't dress homeless, but they were basically saying it looks like people can't afford stuff. Why would they be wearing this stuff? And obviously for fashion shows, you're supposed to be very out there. You're supposed to push the button. You're supposed to push the envelope. You're supposed to be very avant-garde, right? However, that's something that people looked at like, why would I buy that? Because a lot of that stuff that you saw, that's the same stuff that he was trying to get people to buy. The Yeezy shoes. There were some of them where they looked like they were straight up like they had holes in them. But when you have a mindset that I'm going to take the reference, see, watch this. This was the mindset. We had to come out of it. You don't have to eat chitlins no more. Right? Like you had to at one point. Right? But you don't have to do that no more. You don't have to eat the scraps anymore off the master's table and say that, hey, since it's not the chitlins, but I'm a house Negro, it's better to have the stuff in the house and the master leaves me some leftovers. And so I get to eat what he leaves. Hey, man, master takes care of me. You don't have to do that anymore. right? But we still carry the mentality. See, you don't have to be on a physical plantation to still be on a plantation. And yes, I know the prisons are plantations, and you can say your job might be a plantation or the schools are plantations. But hear what I'm saying? Some of you are at home right now listening to me and still living on the plantation. And just like somebody will walk up to the house Negro or the pastor and say, separate, let's go, let's run away, let's separate from this. And they would say, where are you going to find better clothing than this? Where are you going to get a better house than this? Where are you going to have better opportunities than this? Because all you know is the master's house, and the master's house is what separates you from the house Negro. So if the house Negro who's outside, who's seeing the real version of what goes on, and you're in the house, and even though you're treated like nothing, but at least you get a roof over your head and stuff like that, you think that that's the best because that's all you've seen. This is why we have angry black young men. This is why our fathers are angry. Is it right that they're angry? No. Is it acceptable that they're angry? No. Is it okay that they mistreat women? No. Right? But I'm just trying to tell you, you're dealing with fathers who've been out in the plantation, or even some of them in the house. See, even the father, the man is against the man. See, before it's the man against the woman, it's the brother against the brother. If the brothers ever said we're gonna come together, then it's gonna be a lot different. One of the things that a lot of people don't like, you say, ain't nobody gonna treat us better than massa. Yeah, that's the mindset people have. See, look, how you doing, brother Keon? A lot of brothers, hear me and hear me well. A lot of brothers have it in their mind. Hear what I'm saying? A lot of brothers have it in their mind that their first thing to do is make sure that they look better than their brother. No, that's not true. That's not. Yeah, it is. Down to your basketball team, your football team, your baseball team, your soccer team, to your clothes that you be wearing. You right, like you're so afraid of your sneakers getting smudged. They are shoes. They go on your feet. Who cares what your feet look like? Oh no, that's not right. And this and that or whatever. Everybody got to know. And you got, I don't know. You sound just like when you talk about how you are so frustrated and it's so expensive to upkeep a woman's nails and stuff like that and get the pedicure done and all those stuff. You sound worse than her. Your stuff is more expensive than her. She can buy 10 pairs of shoes for your shoes. Why you always need all these shoes? I'm not saying she needs all those shoes. I'm not saying she needs 500 shoes, but she can buy 20 of her 500 shoes for what it costs for one of yours. And you're so afraid that somebody would smudge them that you'll fight, that you'll take out somebody. You'll rain down fire upon somebody that would smudge or step on your shoe. Our first competition is each other. If we can stop competing with each other long enough to be together and have a real brotherhood, how great and pleasant it is. Is that Psalm 133? How great and pleasant it is that brothers come together and dwell in unity. It is like the oil, right? That is put on the head of Aaron, right? And goes down into the beard all the way down, right? If we ever came together just as brothers, see, because as much as we want to talk about our sisters, a lot of time, much as they talk this and that or whatever, I promise you, a sister wants somebody that she can feel secure in and get affection from, and she wants to respect the person that secures and gives her affection. I'm telling you, as somebody does a lot of marital coaching and literally has people who are going through a lot of stuff and are going through a lot of arguments. Oftentimes, if I could just get the brother to say, like, hey, she's looking for security and affection, right? And it's hard though. I get it, because you have not received security or affection, because who secures a man? Mm, I know. And sisters, look, I can feel some of you because you think I'm trying to make excuses. I'm not making excuses. I'm keeping it 100 with you. Who secures a man? Now, everybody will go straight to Abba, and yes, he is our ultimate source of everything. But hear what I'm saying. Who secures a man? Am I my brother's keeper? Yes or no? The world says an answer, but I'm asking you, what does Yah say? Am I my brother's keeper? Another man secures a man. A father secures his son. That means that not only is his idea of security coming from his father, I'm not saying that his mother is not giving him anything, right? But what I'm saying is we've got this out of place. The mother is supposed to make sure that she's giving certain types of affection and everything, because that's what comes out of it. She's teaching her son about affection. But father, he's security. And then mess around and be a father that gives affection to your son. The father secures his child, his son. Daughters, say whatever you want, but guess who you're going to try to marry? You're going to try to marry whoever your father is. That's why you got to be careful about who your father is, spiritually, physically, whatever, and see if they have curses in them or see certain things, see if what they're saying is real, study what they're saying, right? But you're going to be looking for whoever's like your father. My oldest daughter, about to turn 18 this year. Praise y'all. Time flies. Wow. My oldest daughter, not my oldest, but my oldest daughter, she came to me when she was like 4 years old and said one of the most powerful things I've ever heard from a pulpit, from anywhere. 4 years old. She uttered words that will live in my heart forever, because it meant I had to be accountable. This is what she told me. She said, Dad, one day I'm going to marry you. Right? And most people would say, oh, that's cute, but you can't marry your dad. And blah. No. I get what she meant. As soon as she said it, I had to start getting some things in order, because what she was saying is whoever I marry, they're gonna have to be like you. As soon as she said it, okay, I'm a standard. You hear what I'm saying? Like, as soon as she said it, like other people, oh, that's cute. I did not laugh. I did not smile. I had a moment. It felt like 15 years passed in a few seconds. I was just sitting there looking. I said, okay. I said, I know what this means, right? Say whatever you want. I don't need a man. I don't need that. Everybody needs a mother and a father. And the father has certain things he's supposed to present. Yeah, sometimes he do create monsters and things like that, for sure. Right? Yeah, you set the bar. You're the standard. You are the foundation. If I'm the foundation of a house, every house that has a foundation, if I'm the foundation of the house, guess what that means? That means that the house cannot, if there's a crack in the foundation, leaks start to happen, the house starts to lean, windows can break, the house will ultimately fall apart. No matter how many times you try to fix it up, it will keep falling apart. Why? Because the foundation is messed up. Whenever I build a tower, you must recognize that it takes longer to build the foundation for the tower than it does for the tower. If you see a high-rise building, it takes longer to build the foundation than it does, because it has to go deeper. Not always. I guess there's different things, but for the most part, or at least as far as my comprehension of certain types of construction, let's say it like that, the foundation ultimately usually will go deeper than what you see up top. So you look up, you say, man, that thing's like 50 stories high. But we never think about the foundation. And we haven't built strong foundations. My husband's always, he's never forgiven anything. He just says, you should get it right. You should get it right. You know why? Because because he never had anybody to say, hey, it's okay if you get it wrong, son. You know how many times Solomon gets frustrated? My son, he gets frustrated because he's a perfectionist, just like his father. And my father was there, but he worked 2.5 jobs, so he wasn't able to speak certain things into me. So I see certain things that he does that I do, and because I'm able to spend time with him, I know the importance of saying, hey son, look, it's okay, you didn't get it right. It's okay you missed the note. It's okay you didn't win the game. It's okay that your kick was not perfect today in Kung Fu. It's all right that I asked you what 7 times 7 was and you couldn't say 49 right away. We're still learning that. You're still getting that. Like, it's different lessons that we have. It's all right that you were trying to do this many push-ups and today you couldn't just knock 30 of them out easy. That's all right. Right? You're going to get there on the way there. See, this is some of the stuff that makes men angry, because if I be honest, we haven't had people to be able to say sometimes like, hey, it's all right. Hey, look, Come on, son. This is the direction. See, you need direction. Fathers give direction, right? Proverbs 1:8, father gives direction or instruction, excuse me. Mothers lay down the law, right? Sometimes you need instruction. Sometimes you need direction. Hey, son, come this way, right? I need to tell you, look, I know that you're about to turn 20 and you're about to turn, or you're 20, you're about to turn 21 and you don't even know what you're supposed to do. And the world's going to say this and the world's going to do that. I know what that is. I promise you, keep going this direction. Hey, I know what it is to be a 7-year-old turned into an 8-year-old. Hey, keep going this direction. Hey, I know what it is to see that you have something and you want to be like your father and you feel like you're not him. I promise you, your father was not as developed as you were at your age. Keep on pushing. You're gonna be better than me. You're gonna be better than me. I need you. You see what I'm saying? Like it's so, but we don't have that direction. So he gets to a point where you say, why is he so angry? Sometimes he's angry because he's never had that direction. Somebody says, well, as a mother, I told him this, I told him that. I get it, but you can't direct him like a father can. I'm not trying to belittle you. I'm trying to be honest with you. There's certain things I can't direct my daughters in. I have to go to my wife. I have to say, what is this? I think I'm supposed to do this. I know the Bible declares. The Bible says, but I'm not a female. I need you to tell me, what is it that she needs? Or is this something? Is she trying to just get something over on me? Is this a daddy's wrapped around my little finger thing today? Right? Like it could be a bunch of different things. I might need you to direct me in this because I'm not able to I can give direction, but guess what? You need to lay down law for me in this. You need to be the person to tell me, come back. You need to be, look, she's having issues with this and that or whatever. She's tired. She's dealing with a period. I know what this stuff is. I can tell her certain things and this and that or whatever, but it'll sound a lot better coming from a wife. She looks up to you because you're a wife. She ain't looking for stuff from her own father because she looks up to you. She's a wife. Some of these things she don't need from me. Some of these things is not my place to even act like I'm supposed to give it to her. See, this is real stuff. And we don't want to have honest conversation, but this is real dialogue that we should be having. This is real dialogue. How you doing, Apostle Picasso? Like this is real dialogue that we don't want to be honest about, that we haven't had people come and tell us about, that we haven't had proper instruction in. See, a lot of these brothers are angry because a lot of our fathers are angry, or people who should become fathers, because they didn't have somebody that said, come this way, son. Look, I'm a video game head. At least I was. Still am at heart, but I just don't have the time for it. But I'm a video game head. My son is a video game head. And he does what his father used to do when his father was his age, which is kick and scream and act stupid as if something really crazy is happening, something really significant is happening because you're losing a video game. So guess what I do? Instead of just being like, hey, get yourself together, this, that, or whatever. Sometimes if it gets out of control, I might have to do that. But guess what I do? Son, soon as he yes, Dad. Are you in control? Yes. Okay, because if you're not in control, we need to go ahead and give that up, because that doesn't get to control you. If you can't control the game, you can't control your spirit. Right? Like because why? Because you're my seed, son. I know you better than you know yourself because you're me. And you're going to become better than me because I know all the pitfalls, which means you're not going to fall down the same traps that I did, because I already know what pornography does to my family. So you're not going to fall down that pitfall. You see what I'm saying? I already know what lust does to our family. So you're not going to deal with that. I already know what having a kind heart and wanting to be married, but never even knowing what marriage is and just trying to get with somebody just because your mama told you to be married, and never studying what marriage does. So you're going to study marriage while you're still young. Right? Like I see these things in you. As a father, I'm here to give direction. I'm here to give instruction. You're headed down a path. I know what that path is. It's going to mess you up. My son doesn't think about school, nor does he want to go to school. Sometimes it's something as simple as, hey, son, you know that you get to make YouTube videos, you get to travel, and you get to play games. You get homeschooled. The stuff that we do with you in 1 or 2 hours that allows you to go out and do kung fu, allows you to go outside and play, allows you to have friends all over the planet. Right? Like you wouldn't have those things if you had to go to school. By the way, the stuff that we teach you about Lattimore, the stuff that we teach you about MLK, the stuff we teach you about Minister Malcolm Shabazz, the stuff we teach you about Yehoshabai, the stuff that we teach you about Yahweh, the stuff that we're teaching you about the Word of Yah, the way that you learn how to read because you learn how to read a Bible. Therefore, you have a better reading comprehension than many people that are older than you. Even if you can't pronounce everything, you can read it better than everybody else. Why? Because you grew up reading Bible, Scripture, and you're gonna read it every day. You wake up and go to sleep on Psalms. You're doing that at a child's age. We're training up a child what in the way they should grow. So when they grow old is the destination. I asked my son, I've done it in front of you guys to prove it, right? And even when he was nervous, he did a pretty great work at it, right? He said, I said, son, what is a husband? And he started telling me, well, a husband, he provides. A husband, he makes sure that children get time with their fathers. A husband's supposed to be a father. A husband, I mean, he starts. This is stuff that I argue with grown men about and grown women about and the world about. Well, I don't argue with the world. It is what it is, right? See, and he's going to become greater than his father. He's got to become. That's how you build this up. There are certain things that he should never see, but watch this. Can I flip it? Because some of y'all go too much in the other direction with this. There's also certain things that he should see because his father saw him. He should see some of the hardships. See, some of y'all, I don't want my children to go through any hardships. I give them everything. No. I didn't even really get an allowance, for real. I think that lasted a few months of my life. Right? And then after that, it was done. But we didn't lack per se, but you know, but I didn't have, but guess what? It's something that you have to earn. Dad, can I get this? Can I get this? Can I get that? Son, what have you done? Did you put up any videos today? If you're gonna be on the game all day, did you make some skins for your Roblox stuff? Did you make outfits that people could purchase? If you do a video, once you do your video, if you do hey, did you give me my 20 minutes? I need 20 minutes a day from you and the stuff that you're supposed to be best in to start off your day. You give me your 20 minutes. I'll consider making sure you get $5 in your Cash App. But you're gonna give me something. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna give me something because everything that you get, it should be earned. Because everything I give you is something that's earned. See, some people say, well, you didn't earn salvation. Nothing you get done. You got to earn salvation. Yehoshua earned it. It was earned, whether you earned it or not. And you're going to learn the value of what's earned. Because when it's earned, it's appreciated. Now, when something's appreciated, what does that mean? It means it goes up in value. Once again, our children don't even value fatherhood. You come to a man and you say, be a father. Why should I worry about being a father? Right? It's not even valued in my community. Do you hear what I'm saying? It's not even valued in my community. Credit is more valued than fatherhood. Because I'm not looking for somebody who's already qualified as a father. I'm looking for somebody who has good credit. I'm not looking for somebody who's already valued, who's already qualified as a husband. I'm looking for somebody that has good hair. Why would I value that if that's not even what the peak of what I'm being asked by society? Once again, this is why you have to build a nation and build your own society. Why would a husband try to be a husband if being a husband is not even something that people look at? When somebody says, what are you looking for in a man? People don't even start off with, I'm looking for a husband. So why would you, do you hear what I'm saying? What are the qualities you're looking for in a man? Well, I want to make sure that first of all, he's got to love me for me, and he's got to treat me kindly. And I'm not saying you don't need this, but hear what I'm saying. These are the things you list. He's got to love me for me. He got to treat me kindly. Hopefully he would go out on dates. He needs to make at least 80,000, and I'm below because some people go higher than this. He needs to make at least 80,000 a year. He needs to ensure, that he doesn't mind keeping me, kept up. Hopefully he allows, he's not jealous type. He's somebody that is very smart, very intelligent, which can mean a plethora of things, right? A lot of variances in that mind and what that means, but all these different things, right? And we hear this stuff. And I hear all these people give this stuff, and I be waiting. I never hear anybody say, I'd love for him to be a husband. I would love for him to be, I won't say never. It's very rare that I hear anybody say, I'm looking for a husband. I'm looking for a father. Amen. Amen, Sister Nadine. You hear what I'm saying? But people, that's not even on the list. It's not even on the list, Father. You hear? There's something else that was missing on the list that I just listed out, by the way, that we don't hear either. How you doing, Brother Sean? If you know, there's something else that's on that list that a lot of people might not even realize. Something else that's on the list is this. You ready? What about his belief in the Most High? What about his faithfulness? What about his vision? What about his mission? Because you're not in submission. You're not submitted to a man. You're submitted to a mission. If that man has a mission, then he's an awesome man. A man without a mission is a dangerous one. But when I ask sisters about what they're looking for, they don't even talk about a husband. And if you want a husband, guess what you're supposed to be qualified as? Somebody help me. If I were a woman and I were looking for a husband, culturally speaking, then guess what I have to be qualified as? And I just messed it up. I'm gonna go fix it up in a second, but let me just, what do I have to be qualified as? I have to already be a wife, which means that Yahweh should be my husband. So any husband that comes in line, he's got to be in the mission of Yahweh. If he's not in line with Yahweh, he can't be my husband, because my ultimate husband is always Yahweh, no matter if I have a physical one or not. But let's go a little deeper, because I messed up the way I should have said it. The Holy Spirit revealed it to me as I was saying it, and I apologize, and I'm sorry. Holy Spirit, please forgive me. Yahweh, please forgive me. Yahweh, please cover me in your blood with forgiveness. Right? When I find a husband is not incorrect. You might run into one, sure, but it's his responsibility to do what? Ultimately, I'm not saying it can never be opposite at all, but whose responsibility is it to find who? See, you got this thing twisted. You going on swiping left or swiping right. But you're not supposed to be looking for no husband. That's not even on your list of things as a wife. A wife who's qualified is not looking for a husband, because husbands are looking for qualified wives. If you are looking for husbands, that means that you are not even paying attention to being a wife. Stop looking. Uh-oh. See, people don't like this, but this is real. He's a simp. This is real. You need somebody to tell you this. See, our fathers are mad because nobody told them this. I should be a father already before I should be a husband and a father and an adult male by my cultural standards before I even find a wife. Y'all be thinking it's cute. Oh, it's so cute. Look at them in high school. They hold their hands, this, that, or whatever. No, son, you ain't doing that. Is that your wife? Don't bring no girl to my house. She's not coming in unless she's a wife. I don't like that at all. It happens sometimes, but I don't like that at all. I don't like that at his age. I don't like little girls coming in the house. If he plays games and does Roblox and stuff with some of his friends that are little girls, and they start saying, "Can we play this game? Can we play Brookhaven? Can we do this? Can we do that?" And then they start trying to play house with it. I said, "Son, we're not playing house. You're not doing that." And you can hear the girls, oh, they're huffing and puffing because they think that I'm like doing something detrimental. But I tell them the same thing. Hey, look, we don't even play around with husband and wife. You got to be qualified. He's not ready for that. We don't play house. He said, that's how your daddy raised you? Yeah, like we don't play house. We don't just do that. He said, not FedEx, but he'll deliver one. Yeah. And by the way, like you need to realize when he finds a wife, right? And here's the two verses that go together, right? Really, you should go back to Proverbs chapter 18, verse 15. We've read that before. But when you read Proverbs chapter 18, verse 22, don't forget verse 21. You know both of them, but you don't put them together, right? Death and life is at the power of the tongue, and those that love it will eat the fruit thereof. he who finds a wife finds an excellent or a constitutional or a great or a righteous, or you use the word because of Germanic language, you use the word good, but or even an Elohim like thing. So he who finds a wife finds something that Elohim is authorizing, and therefore what? Obtaineth favor from Yahweh. Put those two verses together, and what is it saying? It's saying that a wife, when you find her, you're looking for somebody who speaks life and death and recognizes the power of her tongue, and therefore you'll eat the fruit thereof. If you go back and read the verse before, it tells the husband that, hey, be careful what it is that you speak, right? Because it can do things even to your belly. Then it says, when you find a wife, be careful, because she can speak life and she can speak death. See, look for a wife even in what she speaks and how she operates. And there's a lot of sisters out here that call themselves the baddest bee, but then want to talk about that they a ride or die chick. You're not a chick. You're not a bee. You're not a chicken. You're not a female dog. You are a wife. I'm looking for somebody specific. See, this is cultural. This is why it's not for everybody, because everybody out here is not a wife. In my culture, I can only speak for my culture. If you say you want to be part of something else, that's fine. But I believe my culture has certain universal principles, because the one who spoke the universe into existence, remember, what is a universe? Uni means a or one or single. Verse means a sentence. So the universe is a single spoken sentence. So therefore, the one who spoke the universe into existence must be the one to be able to make sure that what he has created, which was the first wife, when he created the first wife, that I'm supposed to leave my mother and father behind and cleave unto her. She's going to leave her family for me, right? And I'm going to leave my mother and father ultimately and cleave unto her. My mama don't come before my wife, because my mama is somebody else's wife. She's supposed to submit herself to her own husband. So I'm not trying to be my mama's husband. I'm trying to make sure what? That I'm submitted to my own wife, because Ephesians 5:21, before you get to Ephesians 5:22, where it says, why submit yourselves to your own husbands? It first says Ephesians 5:21, submit ye yourselves one to another as unto Yahweh. We have a lot of men that are angry because nobody showed him that. Nobody told him that. And then what happens? He starts to look at his brother. Man, why he got it together? Why is his relationship? Man, he's a simp. He's this and that. Then he starts looking at the one who should be the wife of his bosom. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 54 and 55. He starts looking at her and saying, yeah, man, if she really knew what it was to be a wife and this and that and blah, blah. And then he starts looking at his own children and saying, man, I'm done with this. I'm out. I'm gone. And then it says the wife now, who's unprotected and feels is really delicate now, but has nobody to protect her, and she won't even peradventure, she won't even leave on an adventure to be able to find out what she needs to do and even go and grow, because now she's got to be sucked into this place of being in a position that she was never supposed to be in. And ultimately she treats the children the same way, right? The man has rolled out and left the children. He just gets as much as he can from him, that he rolls out, and that's it. The man, right? The woman, she now has the children in the house, but is frustrated and basically feeding off of them herself, just trying to survive, not trying to thrive, let alone build up a successor, right? Because you can't be a success without a successor. And now the successors will never be success if we don't fix this thing and start putting our own stuff in place. How you doing, Urban Royalty? ATL, please check out Urban Royalty ATL when you have a chance, right? We have this thing wrong. It's messed up. It's jacked up. It's not making any sense. No wonder you're angry. No wonder we have angry fathers. But it's time for the hearts of the fathers to return to the children. This is Malachi chapter 4, verse 6, our focal scripture for this whole week. It's time for the hearts of the children return to the father. If it doesn't happen, Yahweh says, I will smite the earth with a curse. That is how important fatherhood is to the Most High. The hearts of the children have to return to the fathers. The hearts of the fathers have to return to the children. If not, the curse remains. Yes, Deuteronomy 28, 1-14, be obedient. But if we don't put fathers back in their place, he said, I will smite the earth with a curse. Do you hear what I'm saying? And thank you, Reverend Sidney. Right? Do you hear what I'm saying? Right? Before Yahushua, the Messiah, shows up, before he shows up, the last thing that we hear in Malachi chapter 4, verse 6 is, the hearts of the fathers better go back to the children. Then he sends a manifestation of himself to be able to make sure that the hearts of the children can return to their father. I do the will of the Father who sent me. But we have angry fathers. And it makes sense that they would be angry. I don't blame you. We need to fix it. But I don't blame you for being angry that nobody sowed this into your life. I don't blame you for being angry that nobody really taught you about worship. I don't blame you for being angry that nobody decided, hey, I'm gonna show you love. I'm gonna kiss you on your forehead. I'm gonna let you know that you're loved. I'm gonna be the first person to say I love you. We didn't have that. We were tender. We become tender, unprepared. We're angry. Since the 80s, the thing that's been attacked more than anything else is the father. Bring it back once again, like I was saying, look, I get NWA and F the police and all that stuff and how powerful it was, right? But Ice Cube is not your father, nor is he trying to be in the will of your father. He's not. You know, like, I mean, we can pull this whatever way you want, but he's not your father. He's not out here trying to make sure that he's building strong community. I'm not saying he's never done anything for the community. Hear what I'm saying? I've said this before. Like, remember Kevin Durant? He came over. He came from PG County, right? He went back to PG County, dropped what was it, 10 million on him. That's awesome and everything, but you gave it to the school system. The school system is not about to make sure that your people are going to be successful, because that's not something that they get from their father. Who is the school system's father? Who is the father of the beast? See, we don't want to talk about it, but we got to be real about it. These young men are angry because they don't have father. They don't have father figures. They don't have anybody saying, like, this is the way. Sound like the Mandalorian, but it's true. You might need to, before you start, don't get mad at little Yoda, at baby Yoda, whatever. And baby Yoda, don't get mad at Grogu. And Grogu ain't got a father to say, this is the way. This is why we do what we do. This is why we operate this way. This is why we travel this way. This is why we make money this way. This is why we treat our wives this way. This is why our language says this. This is why the word of Yah says this. This is why, as for me and my house, we shall serve the Lord. This is why you need to control yourself. This is why you need to honor your mother. This is why you need to honor your father. This is why you need to honor your bloodline. This is why you need to learn about yourself, right? I wish. How you doing, Michael? Thanks for being on. I wish my child would disrespect their mother. Yes, my wife, if she needed to, could go ahead and make sure that she respects the child, this and that. But I wish my child would. Matter of fact, there's times where my child might do something that I might think is disrespectful, and she'll make sure I don't find out about it. That I find out later on. But you know why she does it? Because she knows. I wish my child would. Because who's supposed to secure my wife? I am, even from my own child, because I'm not one with my child. This is the links of stuff that we need to teach to our sons. No wonder they're so angry. A young man who doesn't know who he is an angry man. You said, what do I mean by disrespectful? I wish a child, like, well, for us in our culture, and a lot of you are raised like this similarly, right? Let your mother call you, and I see that you on the game, and you say, okay, I'm coming, and then I see you there 10 seconds later still, and then she says the child's name again, and I see you wait 10 more seconds. Let me see that. That's disrespect. Where I come from, when your mom begins to say your name, you're already saying, yes, ma'am, coming. I mean, that's where it starts. That's surface level stuff. You see, like, I don't even comprehend, like, oh, I have a problem my child be like, and I'm not saying that this wasn't abusive. I don't think I level, but do you know what my father did to me when he found out that I stood up in my mother's face? Like, do you know what he did? You know what I'm saying? And when my father, and I decided then hey, you got to stand up to your father. Decided I was going to stand up in his face, and my father proceeded to treat me like a grown man. Now he didn't beat me down, but he did hit me. He hit me in my chest one time. And he let me know. When I was sitting there trying to gather my breath, he said, "That's my wife. That's not just your mother. That's my wife." What was the answer that he gave me? Or what was the reasoning? What was he teaching me? He was teaching me that, hey, you might think that you can talk like that, but I want you to think you can talk like that to your mother, but not only that, to a wife. See, because you mess around and you do that to somebody else's wife out there. And somebody else, they're not just going to hit you in the chest. They got that thing for you. So he was teaching me then, like, be careful. He was teaching me then, be careful. How you doing, babe? My wife is on The Honorable Mind. Please check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. But yeah, that's just the beginning. That's just the beginning. I wish I would hear, I don't wish, that's what we say, like Cedric the Entertainer said, we don't hope, we wish, right? People get to the movie theater, I hope that nobody's sitting in my seat. But we don't hope, we wish a mother would be sitting in our seat, right? So I apologize, I should change my language. I don't wish that, right? I'm just saying, I'm prepared. Let me say it like this, I'm ready for the day if necessary. I'm ready for the day that my child decide he gonna just let me see my child decide it, because we as little boys, we have that in us to where we want to challenge, we want to be better, we want to be better leaders, we want to grow. And sometimes we think we're ready to be leaders over environments where we're not, and sometimes we'll just challenge people, see what'll happen. Oh yeah, but I'm ready for the day. Little boys do this. Little boys sometimes think they're gonna fight their fathers. Believe it or not, that happens sometimes. But little boys be swelling up on their fathers. The father got to, hopefully it never comes to actual blows, but sometimes you got to remind them, like, I know you think you this and that or whatever. I promise you, son, it's not going to turn out the way you want. But they will try you. Tell you your oldest son did that to his mother, and that was the first and last time. Yeah. And that's what we're supposed to be there for. Once again, protection, security, even from our own children. Our children are learning, and a lot of your children are going into the world. You say, no, my child's not in the world. They go to school every day. If they go to school every day, 5 times a day, some of them in summer school right now, watching YouTube videos, watching worldly cartoons, Saturday rising cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons. You hear what I'm saying? Like they go to challenge. And a lot of times, to be honest, you got to meet the challenge, because they'll think if you back down, I'm just being honest with you, this is the way it is. And you got to, you know what, let me leave it alone, because some of y'all ain't ready to go where I'm going. Praise y'all. I know some of you are, but I'm not trying to do this whole thing where people are trying to get me into something to say that I mean something I didn't say, even if it's recorded, right? So I'll just go ahead and leave it there. But I'm just trying to tell you, like, you got to, at a young, that's why at a young age, you get on the boy young, as soon as possible, right? Because the boy is challenging you the most when he's young. A lot of people don't get that. Like girls, when they get older, when they start getting closer to womanhood, right? When they hit 16, that bat mitzvah, right? When they get to 16, when they get their teenage years, that's when you got to start really being like, okay, like here come the challenges. They sweeten everything till they start hitting 16. They hit in preteen years, and all of a sudden those hormonal changes start happening, and you like, oof. You know what I'm saying? But little boys, they're challenging you at a young age. If you don't make sure that the challenge is met when they're young, you're going to have problems with them when they get to be preteen and teenager. If you get the little boy strict when he's young, he gonna go ahead for the most part and fall in. You still got to watch him, but he gonna fall in. But see, a lot of times young boys are off the chain. We just let him do whatever. And so that young boy that's off the chain, even when he calms down when he gets older, he's still gonna wild out, because he never had anything to be a standard for him. You said your mom used to say to you, wait till your father gets home. We would run and hide when you heard the keys. Matter of fact, this is not righteous, but I'm gonna just be honest with you. Like I had a friend of mine, his father, I believe, was in the Navy, He was in the Marine Corps, and his father was in the Navy. His father would come back home from deployments, at least 6 months, right? So now you would get back home. So he would get back from deployments, and all of his children, everybody be happy, and he'd be hugging, and they spend time, and then they get back to the house, and he would say, okay, like, line up. They'd be like, line up, and be like, yeah, y'all gonna get a whooping. They'd be like, what are we gonna get a whooping for? And he'd say, your mama told me, but you did. Now, I think that's abuse. I think that's going to a place to where it's not even, especially depending on the age that they are, it's not even, but I'm just trying to tell you, like, it used to be a thing of, like, the father's supposed to instill fear. Now, fear does not mean to be afraid. Remember, the word afraid means to be scared. The word fear means to respect. If you're going to fear the Lord, guess what? They got to respect him. If you're going to fear your mama, guess what? You're going to respect her. If you're going to fear your father, guess what? You have to respect him. There is something there. Fear is something that should be used. But we're afraid of instituting fear. Problem with it is, though, is that you fear the government, and they're not for you. You fear Eurocentric society, and they're not for you. Yeah, to revere. You revere these things. Yeah, there's people have no fear and no honor. Once again, though, right? We gotta deal with the fact, who taught them this, or who didn't teach them this. We gotta raise our hands, no matter what reason it is. Now we know the reasoning, and that should be part of what we use to help develop a solution. But first things first. Here's the first thing. Now that we've talked about all this stuff, yeah, you're angry. Guess what? Be accountable for the things that you've done in anger. Realize the things you've done in anger, fathers, that have caused frustration and craziness. And now we're supposed to figure out how to make sure that we come out of using or doing things in anger. Salah. Right? Salah. Pause and think about it. Are you ready? Are you ready to no longer be angry? Now, we're going to have to work through some things to get past your anger issues. But once we come out your anger issues, we're coming out with a purpose. We're not just coming out of being angry to go ahead and keep doing the same stuff we've been doing. We're coming out with a purpose today. That thing that you're angry about right now, we're going to forgive. But then we also got to learn how to build up trust. Because our sisters have been angry too. And we've been so busy angry at each other, and then angry at them, and angry with our own children, or our anger popping up where it's bad manifestations that are happening with our children, where they're repeating the same curse. That now we've learned, I've sat here today and caped up for it and said, hey, look, sisters, back off these brothers, right? They're dealing with anger issues. Okay, now I got to hear them on the opposite end. And we got to say, all right, we're going to be accountable. We know that we're angry. And guess what? Some of you who've never done it, but you still need it, even if you don't want to admit it. I know you're nice. Everybody says you smile, but just you're gonna have to do some self accountability. You're gonna do some soul searching, right? But here's something that I want you to catch, right? You are going to need somebody to walk you through this, to coach you through this. If you say it's not me, that's fine. And men don't want it, but see, watch this. Every man must become an accountable man. And that means you got to have somebody you report to every once in a while. Every once in a while, I need to go to somebody and be like, bruh, look, I got some people in my life. Hey, look, this is what's going on. Honestly, this, that, whatever. I need to be better. Like, I need somebody to talk to real quick. I need somebody that I can go ahead. I need a man I can cry tears to. And he'll let me cry, and he'll let me get it out. And then he says, okay, now that you finish crying, this is what you need to do. I need my father in my life that I cry on the phone. I tell him I don't know what's happening and I don't know what to do. And he says, son, right now, what you're going to do is you're going to stand up and show yourself strong and be a man. And then you're going to figure out the rest of it later on. But right now, you have enough stuff in you. See, sometimes that's the answer too. I'm not saying the answer is never to be strong. I'm not saying that he should always go first to crying, right? What I'm saying is, though, we haven't had people to direct us in this. Yeah, and a lot of mental illness is there. But once again, see, we deal with mental issues all the time. Once again, if you whooping your children, it's because the slave master had an overseer that whipped you, and the overseer would let you whip him so that you would still get the point across, but you didn't do it. Now, I'm not saying you should never spank your child, but to whip your child is different. I'm not saying you should never discipline your child, but to whip your child is a different thing. We grew up on switches, some of us. Why? I mean, watch this. That wasn't instilling fear, even though you did learn fear from it, but also it instilled you being afraid. Now you're afraid. You're scared. Right? You become scared of certain things. But so once again, we need to go through a process. There are a lot of 55-year-old boys, and they need to have a father. You need to talk to somebody. There's a lot of grandparents that are still boys, and you need to talk to somebody. There's a lot of people who've been married and for 40 years and feel like they've never been heard. I hear this stuff all the time. You need to talk to somebody. There's a lot of brothers who always say, man, I'm so busy, this and that, or whatever. At SOC, we got each other's numbers, y'all. We should be calling each other. The brothers have been doing great. Text stream, Discord, the Discord app, right? All this stuff. Men's meeting, by the way, we have our men's meeting this Saturday coming up, right? That's the third Saturday. So 7:00 p.m. Eastern New York time. We hope to see you guys on there. But these are things that we should be doing all the time with regularity. How you doing, girl, aka woman? Right? Like, these are things that are there that we should make sure that we're doing. We have angry men because we haven't fed them. Have you ever had a child and the child is acting some kind of way, and everybody around you is saying, man, what's up with your child? Why they angry? They say, man, he's on one today. Something wrong with him. And you say, oh, my bad. I didn't feed them. Right? They haven't been fed. Then you feed them, and then what happens? Almost immediately, within 5 minutes, they go from being on the verge of tears, and they're not listening to you, and they don't want to hear anything, and they're so angry, and they go back to being so sweet. I used to be that parent because that's how I was raised. I used to be that parent. What's wrong with you? Get yourself together. You better be listening. And now I realize, like, you know, after having some experience, oh well. Oh, okay. Did you eat yet today? Thank you, Reverend. Appreciate you. Did you eat yet today? See, I'm trying to talk to our fathers. This is a call to fathers. Everybody obviously can listen, but fathers are people that's supposed to have a specific role to play in our community. And when I'm talking to you guys today, I just want you to know, like, I'm asking the question, did you eat yet today? Did you? Did somebody tell you they love you, bro? God, I love you. Did somebody tell you that you were needed? If not, I need you. And my wife's saying the ADHD nutritional deficiencies prevent children from listening and paying attention. Yeah, right. Oftentimes, well, sure, like 99% of the time, right? Right. But I'm here to tell you once again, fathers, like, did anybody feed you? Did anybody tell you why they love you? Did anybody listen to your instruction today? Did you get an instruction from a man today? Did somebody pray over you today? Did somebody tell you, I appreciate you getting ready to go to the job? Or if you coming off the job? I'm not saying that women don't need this stuff. Hear what I'm saying, though. This is things that fathers did not fed. They're still little boys in the spirit. They're still little boys mentally, and nobody's trying to feed their spirit. What does it do to the spirit of a man to always hear everybody say, why don't you give direction? But when you give direction, nobody follows it. This is stuff that men come to me and talk about on a regular basis. Nobody hears me. Nobody hears me. I finally talked to their wife, and I can tell, yeah, nobody hears them. And what happens is they feel like the world believes, which the world does teach, they feel like the world believes that nobody should have to even listen to them, talk to them, hear them. Then everybody says, why are they always quiet? Why are y'all always so quiet? Why are men so quiet? Y'all need to be more in touch with your emotions. When you have men that are emotionally available, everybody says you're overly emotional. Even deaf ears can feel the pressure. Amen. And I'm just trying to tell you, this is why you're dealing with these angry men, these angry boys. They never had development. Why don't we ever talk about the fact that we talk about men don't have any EQ? How can you have an emotional quotient and nobody, like, for example, if you're going to take an IQ test, it's based off of Eurocentric IQ. You got to know what their intelligence or their information that they believe is most important so that you can pass their IQ test. Same thing should be for your own IQ test. What is your IQ? What is your intelligence? Well, here's another one. When it comes to the EQ, the emotional quotient, nobody's taught them how to be emotionally available. Nobody's taught them how to talk to a woman. I've talked to brothers who never talked. They didn't even know what it was to talk to somebody else because they were always on their own. A lot of latchkey kids. That's what you used to call them, right? The children that used to have the keys around their neck and used to have to take care of themselves. And mom had to work. And at 5, 6 years old, you had to take care of yourself all day because she can't afford no babysitter like that. And ain't no family around and stuff like that. Or family ain't got no time for them. So 5, 6 years old, you put a key around her neck. Mom will be there as soon as possible, but she got to make sure she do what she got to do to make money. You there by yourself. You develop yourself. You keep yourself busy. You're responsible for doing your homework. If you don't do your homework, somebody says, why aren't they doing homework? Nobody even kept on them. That's not important to your survival. That was your whole life. Yeah, a lot of us live like that. But then we turn around and say, well, what's wrong with this wicked generation? What happened to them? How are you going to be emotionally available? A lot of people out here say, I don't know how to talk to people like that. Yeah, because you never were around people. You were a latchkey child? Yeah. You were never around people. So if you were never around people, like how do you know how to talk to them? I didn't know how to talk to people for a long time. You said you asked to be one? Yeah, but you had mom and dad involved in your life a lot too. So you were asking to be something that, even though you were getting something. But yeah, I'm just saying. But we don't realize the effects of these things because we don't think about the culture. If I am a husband who's never seen a husband, what qualifies me to be a husband? If I am a father who's never seen a father, what qualifies me to be a father? And even if I'm doing a spot on work, if my work is right on the money, right, I'm hitting the bullseye on the target, I still am always questioning myself because I'm like, I haven't seen this before. I haven't seen this before, right? I know y'all's leading me, but I haven't seen this before. It's very difficult to be what you've never seen and to value what's not valued. Right? It's very difficult to value the thing that you never valued or you've never seen anybody value. A lot of brothers hear all the time, be a man, but it's toxic. We used to think, hold the door open for somebody. I don't need nobody holding the door. I mean, we were raising it like there's no place. And so he becomes angry. Watch this, because ultimately, not only has he not been instructed, but now as we get ready to take our leave for today, now here's one of the biggest issues that we have. Not only has he not been instructed on what it is, but even the things that he thought were proper instruction, now they supposedly have been phased out. How you doing? I don't know if it's, I'm gonna say this right, Satop or Satop tier. How you doing, Income Boy? Thank you for being on with us. Right, that Income Boy. Hopefully I'm saying that right too. Right now, the things that I was told I was supposed to be and become, right? The things that I thought I was supposed to become are the things that now people say that's not required. It's phased out. You said you see women intentionally take the door. Like, why? People can help each other. Mm-hmm. Right? Like my son is raised where everywhere he goes, he opens the door for his mom and he opens the door for his father too. And so a lot of times I'll say thank you and I'll tell him go ahead and go in. But he still knows, even though I'm telling him, sometimes I'll walk in so that he feels like, okay, I'm doing, but but everywhere he goes, he opens the door for his mom. You know why? Because that's something you're supposed to do. Yeah, you said they act like men are hurting them when they open the door. Yeah. And by the way, it's a reflection. I get it, sisters. I get it. Because one of the reasons why, and we're going to have to talk about this with fathers tomorrow, Because one of the reasons why our sisters do this is because the fathers who are supposed to be protectors of them have basically hurt them so much on a regular basis to where anything that resembles a father, whether it be a spiritual father, a husband, whatever, right, a physical father, we have hurt our sisters so much, or even society has raised us to where our sisters have been trained against it. But for real, let's take accountability. We have hurt our sisters so much that anything that resembles a man, even if it's a different culture that we bring, anything that resembles a man is something that we are against. And we got to be honest about it. Sorry. You said if you're African American, how do you... Sorry, I don't know what... Okay. Sorry about that. Somebody's surely trying to get through. I don't think that's for me. It's for somebody else. So how, if you're African, how do you fully connect with that? Well, I mean, first of all, you connect with culture. Culture is out there for you, and you can live culture no matter where you go. Now, certain things have to be there with your people, but you can live culture wherever you go. Yeah, the Messiah did what his father told him to do, what he saw his father do, right? I've come here to do the will of the Father that sent me. But yeah, if you're talking about culture, this is why we always say culture reigns supreme, right? Get around people, by the way. Get around people that are like-minded. That's why we offered, hey, that's why we're getting ready to do our shout out on TikTok. You know, we're getting ready to take our leave on all the devices. If you're on TikTok with us, we do a shout out at the end where you can get more information on different things we do in the community. You know, but these are things that we can easily do. You know, we call it, you can call somebody who knows the language. You can learn some of your language. You can, because language is part of a nation. A tongue is where the language comes from. That's why they say speak in tongues, when you're talking about heavenly or even earthly, right? So a tongue is part of a body. A body is considered to be a nation. A nation is considered to be a people. It's 11:11, babe. Thank you for the reminder. It's 11:11, right? So this is cultural. And we have a tough time with culture because we lack culture. We want to bring everything into the conversation except for what is the culture. We want to bring everything into the equation except what is the culture that these people live. These sons are not living in their culture. Our daughters are not living in our culture. So in the culture of gentrification, that even gentrifies your mindset with things. See, you don't think about gentrification outside of the physical, but see, they gentrify mindset too. So you think that you don't even think that feminism is gentrification. We don't even think about feminism as gentrification. How you doing, Brother Ali? So our mindset as far as patriarchy is based off of feminism, but my patriarchs are monsters. My patriarchs are emperors. My patriarchs are prophets. So when you're having a discussion about a father, one of the hardest parts about being a father is that I'm dealing with the gentrified conversation. But you know, the white man who oppresses this and that or whatever, look, I get in everything, but I'm not in their system. I don't have to live with the white man, patriarchy. I don't have to live by it. It doesn't affect me. Somebody says, no, that's, how does it not affect you? But I don't have to do 9-to-5 stuff. I'm a Levite all day, every day. I get to be with my family. Do I go to some places where they're in? Sure. But that's not what, like, I don't have to do business with that. Like, I don't have to do any of those things. Like, I've decided to live a life where I'm separate. This is cultural. I've made a specific cultural decision. Does it mean I hate somebody because of the color of skin? No. It just means that I'm okay with giving to my people and making sure I bring the tithe into the storehouse. And ultimately, even getting rid of the tithe, you don't recognize it, but that's not something that's from your culture either. That's something coming from other people. When they say don't give a tithe is a tribute. Who do you give tribute to? Who does 10%? Does 10% of your money, watch this, does 10% of your money go to fast food? You don't have to answer if you don't want me to, if you don't want others to know. How you doing, Ernie's Heart? But let's just be honest. Does 10% of your money go to fast food? Does 10% of your money, some of you, go to alcohol? Some of you, does 10% of your money go to the club? Right? Let's be honest. Like, does 10% of your money go towards stuff that you can't even track where it went? If I want to know where your heart is, all I got to do is figure out what your treasure is. If people really want to do some real life coaching with your boy, like the real in-depth life coaching, like if you want the real heavy, like gotta be in your life, gotta be in your business type stuff, and you let me in there, like in your life, and get to actually look at stuff, we gotta look at your checkbook. We gotta look at where you keep your balances. We gotta look at what you spend money on. Because wherever your heart is, that's where your treasure is. And I'm not just talking about I'm not saying give us your money. No, I'm talking about bring ye, this is what the Bible declares. Bring ye the tithes into the storehouse, that there might be meat in mine house. The family, the house, means stuff to be given to it. If you're not giving stuff to the family, whoever you're giving the tribute to, and he says, just give me the 10%. People be tripping off the 10%. Y'all giving the government 50% of your checks. I'm just saying, right? If we really wanted to go in depth and be like, where's your money going? People are like, I can't really give to the community like that. How much do you spend on food? I wonder. I'm not saying you don't need a night to go out and chill and have time to be mom and dad or have a family day and all that. But hear what I'm saying. There's a lot of people that you couldn't even tell me if I were to say how much, if I were to just ask, how much percent do you spend on things that are not necessary? And by the way, some of it, once again, necessary. I think going out and eating every once in a while is necessary for you to be able to, do things together as family. When I'm saying things that are not necessary, some people only have stuff for stuff that's necessary, right? That's a little too much. What I'm saying is, how many of us are able to say, like, can you tell me how much you spend on alcohol a month? So I know there are some of you that don't drink. So if the shoe fits, wear it. If it doesn't, take it off, right? But there are some people, if I were to say, how much do you spend on alcohol every month? You couldn't tell me. How much do you spend on your business every month? What is guaranteed? What percentage? What amount do you have to spend on your business every month? You will not allow yourself to spend this and that. How many extra bills have you taken on? I know things are up and you're making more money. And so the first thing you did when you were making more money, you knew you were supposed to do this. You knew Yah said, this is the direction you're going. But now that you're making more money, instead of continuing to be faithful, what you did is you said, okay, now I got more money. I'm going to get a bigger apartment, or I'm going to try and get more of this, or I'm going to try to do this. And you got more bills now than what you were supposed to have. Right. Well, even the Zaza doesn't necessarily work exactly the way it's supposed to, but like the Zaza is kind of like a key or whatever. Right. Yeah. So I get that too, which is something that we could do as well. But that takes everybody having to be in. Right. Like even you'll have people, like we've done a lot of stuff in the past in many different ways, even before what we're talking about with YLP 83 and SOC virtually. We've done a lot of stuff in the past where everybody said, we're in on something. Okay, cool. Everybody starts well, but then everybody don't finish. So everybody starts well, but everybody doesn't finish. So everybody will start. Yeah, we're going to all give $500 a month, and we're going to do this, and we're going to come together as a community. Okay, cool. But we're going to do it for 12 months, but 5 months in. You know what? I've been looking at this stuff, and I've just been saying to myself, why am I giving? I don't even see this. I don't even see this stuff yet. We're not even finished. We haven't even gotten to a year yet. But everybody starts moving back and pushing out. I mean, I've been in stuff like this before, right? Where everybody's straight, like, and that happens with people's families just in general. We're gonna all go for a walk every day. You start something, but then you don't finish it. The race is not given to the swift, right? Where's your endurance at? Even Matthew chapter 24, verse 13, before 24:14 tells you what's necessary for Yehoshua to come back, for Hakiah to be rolled back like a scroll, right? But the verse before it, in verse 13, he says those will be saved are those that are going to endure. Why don't we ever talk about that with being saved? Endurance is mandatory. So fathers, I say again, you might not hear this from anybody, but I appreciate you. I love you. And I know for this week, for some of the sisters, it's been tough because I've been focusing on fathers all week. Tomorrow will be a day where, even though we'll focus on fathers, we're going to have to make sure that fathers know about what a mother is and what a wife is, right? And then so we'll get ready to get that. I know it's been difficult. Thank y'all for hanging in. because I know sometimes, it feels like now I'm going the opposite way. Now I'm just focusing only on y'all and beating y'all up. No, but the hearts of the fathers have to return to the children, right? The hearts of the children have to return to the father, lest Yahweh smite the earth with a curse. And it's going to take endurance. This is why I come on here every day, right? This is why we're trying to build on something every day. This is why I'm thankful to you guys that help my family, help SOC, and those of you who do all the stuff behind the scenes and are helping us to get closer and closer to the stuff with the land. Hopefully I'll be able to finally look at it because we're going that way. I got to figure out when. But all this stuff. Hopefully you guys are like, keep on being disciplined, and obedience is better than sacrifice, brothers. Sacrifice means I'll do it once. Obedience means I do it over and over and over again. Did you hear what I just said? Obedience is better than sacrifice. A sacrifice must cost you something. Thank you for the love. Appreciate you, Auntie Mary. Right. That's my big sister over there. But hear what I'm saying? Sacrifice costs you once. Obedience means it's going to cost you every single time. There's days that I can barely stand. I still got to give a word. That's obedience. That's not sacrifice. Sacrifice I do it once. I'm not saying be obedient to the point where you're not getting stuff done or you're making yourself sick, but obedience is better than sacrifice. It's going to take us doing this every day. Watch this. If you're 50 years old and you just decided that, or you just found out some of the things I'm talking about, that means that you have 50 years of disobedience. It's going to take a minute. It might take you at least a year to make up for 50. See, this is obedience. And this is when it gets tough. But fathers, I want you to know, right? Fathers, I want you to hear this from me. I appreciate your heart. I love your heart. And I love your passion. And I know it's going to take a lot to be sacrificing every day in a manner that maybe you didn't sacrifice. Maybe nobody taught you to. But your obedience is what's going to bring things into back to where it's supposed to be. Your obedience, the endurance, is when you get the crown. I run my race. Right? Let's put the crown on you. Right? Here's your crown, king. It's coming. But it comes because you win. Because you endured. Who cares if you were the fastest person, but you have no endurance? You can run the fastest quarter mile and pass out. I just want you to know, because this is stuff that we don't hear as fathers, right? And that's why I say to people, like, I don't mind taking this on. I've kind of shied away from it. But as time progresses, and some of you brothers and sisters have been telling me this, like, I don't mind doing the spiritual father thing. I'm not perfect. I need spiritual fathers myself. And sometimes you might need to be my spiritual father for a moment, right? Because I don't know everything. Right? I got my physical daddy. He's a spiritual daddy for me in many different times, even though I don't talk to him that often as I probably should. He's there for me, and he loves his son, and he speaks word over his son. And I appreciate his life and his heart and who he is for that. I really, really do. Right? But I'm just keeping it a buck, keeping 100 with you. Like, I know you don't hear this a lot. And so you might need somebody. That's why we're taking this whole week, to make sure that you're reminded, to make sure you feel loved, to make sure you know that there's value. I know that sometimes people are saying stuff to you, no matter who it is that's saying. I don't care if it's your spouse, whoever. I know there's people out there saying some stuff that's driving you mad. How could they say that about you? How could they not see the great things that you do? How could they not see the value that you bring? How could they not love you for who you're supposed to be? I want you to know, though, that you're loved. And wives, mothers, if you have a father that's connected to your family, show them love. Father's Day is coming up, but every day could be Father's Day, just like every day should be Mother's Day. If you have a father that really goes out there, physical father figure, spiritual father, uncle, right, grandfather that stepped up, right, honor that man. It's not easy, especially when you've never been taught what a father is. Thank you for the love. Appreciate it. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you all. We're going to go ahead and y'all continue to pray for us, as we're going to be doing a lot of travel these next few days, or however long. I don't even know if I should say few, but however long it's going to be. We appreciate you guys so much. I thank you for listening in. We'll be back on this evening at 8 p.m. By the way, those who are on Patreon, I don't know for sure. I didn't get a chance to watch it back. I'm not sure if Patreon was working or not. The signal's been bad. So I think we're going to move, because on certain days, on Tuesdays specifically, I'm usually on the road. And so I haven't been able to make sure our Patreon's been going well. So, or as far as signal even. So we were even on Tuesday, but I couldn't get the signal up because we were traveling on the highways and byways. So we're looking at possibly changing the day that we do that special Patreon live session. Might be a Monday or a Thursday. Probably be more like a Monday. I already know we got a lot of stuff on Monday, but we'll keep you aware of it. Maybe I'll try to fit it on a Saturday sometime. Maybe we'll make it like early thing. I know people have been asking for like an early riser thing we can do every day. So we might do something like that, but it's going to start on Patreon first. I'm going to test it on there to see how it works. But just to give you guys a heads up. So I know we had a lot of signal issue on Tuesday. So I did the live, but I didn't get a chance to look back at it. It probably is very horrible signal. So we're going to have to look at another day just to give you guys a heads up. So we're not getting rid of it. Might be kind of random for a little bit, but we want to make sure that what we're putting out there, you guys are getting. So just kind of keep that in your back pocket if you're part of the Patreon family. All right. But thank you guys so much. I appreciate the king, queen, each and every one of you. If you're with us on TikTok, by the way, we're going to get ready to do our shout out. If you've never done a shout out with us, it's a way that you can find out other information that we have, besides just the live sessions. We have classes that we do. We have classes that we do. We have I'm sorry, what's it? We have classes, we have meetups, whether I'm there or not. We have people that do Bible study, we have people that do life coach, we have people that have many different businesses. We have all types of stuff that we do as part of the diaspora. And so we invite everybody to be part of that. We thank you again for listening in. We appreciate you. We ask that you wait till the music starts to start putting your information in. If and we'll explain that. If you're on TikTok, we'll explain how the shout out works in a second. However, once again, thank you. We appreciate you. Please check out my wife, the Honorable Maya, on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. Don't forget that the Feast of Tabernacles is coming up September 29th through October the 6th. If you want to do 1 to 2 days, we're asking for a donation of $300. If you want to do, so that's $150 a day. If you're doing 3 to 4 days, we're asking for a donation of $350. That's going to go down to $87.50 a night or a day. If you're doing 5 or 6 days, we're asking for a donation of $400. That brings it down to like $66.67 or something like that, and a night. And if you're doing 7 to 8 days, then we're asking that you do a donation of $450. That takes it to $58 and some change, something like that, a night, right? And whichever nights you'd like to spend, go ahead, let us know. Look on the website for more information, and we'll have some information that pops up. Thank you again to everybody everything that you guys are doing. We appreciate you. We honor you. Well, once again, if you're on TikTok, stay with us for a second. When the music starts, we'll start our shout out. As always, it's been Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servant of Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time by being a voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. And until I have the great privilege, opportunity, and responsibility of being in front of you all again, please remember, as always, just loud, that you are loved, you are necessary, you are majestic, you're fearfully, wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in the system no longer have to be of it. Shalom, family. Peace. Shalom, family. Peace. Not everybody else who's still on with us. If you're still on with us on TikTok, this is how the shout out works. If you've never done a shout out with us before,